95.7 The Game.
All right. My record drops to 3-32 in Jeopardy.
You're better than that. Come on, Steiny.
I don't win. I knock on the door. I'm like a Halloween prankster. I knock on the door and then I run away. I don't want to kick it in.
I'm one of those with Jeopardy where I think people think I have a better record than I actually do. It's one of the, JD was
Hey, Klay Thompson. Boom. That was the game.
He's back.
Yeah, he's been back for the last 2 games. And I mean the one thing, and we're gonna get into the Warriors, the elephants in the room. We're gonna talk 49ers for sure. They play in Mexico City tonight, but the Warriors, they beat the Knicks on Friday. They beat the Rockets last night. They play the Pelicans today. The one piece of bad news, no Steph Curry, no Draymond Green, no Klay Thompson. JD, the thing I'm thinking is, how do you get it rolling? If you're gonna load manage the big guys here and there. Like tonight would be a game where, you get tonight, okay, now you beat a couple teams on the road after starting 0-8. You come home against the Clippers. Now it's feeling good, but I mean, I don't know now.
Well, I think the case against what you're saying and the case for load managing is the fact that I think it's pretty clear already that the Warriors are going to have to really use the veteran players a lot more than maybe they anticipated this season in an attempt to try and win as many games as possible to get to the top half of the Western Conference, because the young players have been so unplayable in the grand scheme of this thing. So I think you could almost make a case, because of the extra use of the stars, that those days are going to become more important, especially earlier in the season. And maybe as the season goes on, you do it a little bit less and less. I typically am with you, and I'm not comfortable with it, and really don't even like when teams kind of punt on games like the Warriors are, at least in theory, doing by making it a developmental game. But at the same time, they are playing better in the last 7. I know we could quibble about what all that means, but it is 5 of the last 7. They are now within a game of 500, and to me, you let tonight be about the young guys and you see what you've got. Doesn't mean you're automatically going to lose, and then you re-ramp it up after giving everybody a few days to refresh back at home on Wednesday night. Yeah,
I think the most positive aspect of the weekend, and, JD, I just kind of wonder why it came to this, why it had to come to this, but it did. Klay Thompson played the last 2 games unlike he's played any of the games this season. He took good shots. He didn't rush. He wasn't hungry. He wasn't thirsty. I thought we were talking about Klay on the podcast that we did, and we talked about, God, does he even have a 7 for 15 in him? Well, he was 8 for 16 against the Knicks, and then he obviously exploded last night. So, I mean, I said it before the show. He keeps shooting like that, or at least gets back to, I think he's up to 38% now from 3.
Well, 10 of 13 will do that.
Yeah. The bottom line is, if Klay plays like Klay, they got some action, JD.
I said this last night on Warriors Wrap-Up. My issue with Klay, and I was really hard on Klay, especially after the Phoenix game, because that was the game where it became apparent that his teammates were like, bro, what are you doing? And I think that led to, in part, this team meeting where the elephants in the room that we're going to get to were addressed. But a part of the reason why I was so hard on Klay was it wasn't that he was missing shots. It was the way that he was playing.
Exactly.
It was the fact that he was, as I've said many times, trying to take 2 shots for every miss in an attempt to almost get his percentage up. It felt like he was not hunting a good game. He was hunting a 40-point game. Every game.
Yes.
And when it didn't happen initially, or he'd start cold, he'd chase it. It was like, I missed my first 3. Now I got to make my next 7 to have the 40-point game.
Right.
And rather than just letting the game come to him. So however it was addressed, and I think we've got some reason to believe, based on what has come out about this team meeting, that Draymond came at him in a way where he said, look, dude, you're being selfish. When you focus on the team as opposed to yourself, it's all good for everybody. You play better, we play better, and then those big games come, but they come when you're not trying to go out and get them.
Right.
It's just when you're – and Klay Thompson clearly made a conscious effort in the game against the Knicks to move the ball. I mean, there were you could see it. You could see him thinking it.
Yeah.
Am I going to shoot? No, I'm not. I'm going to drive. I'm going to get rid of it. And a couple times he did get it back. Solid game. If I almost want to, and last night was awesome. Last night was a legendary display of shooting that really only he and Steph Curry can put on among current players. And he still got that in the bag. Less frequently than he used to, Steiny. But to me, the bigger tell for the whole weekend is, can he play like he did against the Knicks more consistently? And I think that's where it becomes about how he was trying to get the job done as opposed to even the results. So whatever needed to be said got said.
Right.
And Klay got the message and changed his game, so he gets credit for that, at least moving forward.
He does. 888-957-9570 is the number you want to jump into the conversation. JaMychal Green was talking after the Knicks game, and he said the Warriors had a team meeting, and they addressed the elephants in the room, elephants plural. I made a list of what I thought the elephants were, and Klay Thompson obviously was, well, maybe not obviously, but he, to me, was number one. And JD, it's to me, it's just strange. Yeah, he played right. Like, he played the right way the last two games. I don't understand how he played the previous 6 games like he played. Like, when you're playing like that, you know you're playing like that.
I think he knew and he didn't care.
I know.
And I think that's what was ticking his teammates off.
I think you're right, but why the hell didn't he care? And why did it take them saying, Klay, what are you doing, for him to care?
I think he got so consumed in, and he admitted this, I think, a little bit last night. He got consumed in everybody talking about how he wasn't the same.
Right.
And I think he got defiant, a word we've used a lot, and you have, to the fact that anybody that said he wasn't the same, like he was going to prove him wrong with every shot.
Right. Exactly.
And I think it snowballed. I think he also wants the team to do well. Mm-hmm. I think he did get selfish, but he wants the team to do well so badly that I think with each miss, he was thinking, I'm killing the team too. So
I agree with that.
I think some of it comes from a good place.
No doubt.
Some of it came from a selfish place.
Right.
Some of it came from a good place to want to help the team. And it sounds like Draymond, and this was another thing that
just to chalk up.
If Draymond Green was the guy that was able to go at Klay Thompson, let's say, like, dude, just be yourself, move the ball, you'll get it back, stop being selfish. If Draymond could do that and it carried weight in Klay's eyes to where Klay changed his game for the better and that becomes a turning point for his season and thus maybe a turning point for this Warriors season, it's also a tell that maybe Draymond Green's leadership and voice in that locker room is back when we thought it was potentially gone forever.
I hear you there.
We don't know
hear
yet.
You there. Right. And to me, we may never see if Draymond had a voice, lost a voice, and then regained his voice. There's still the issue to me with the youngsters and the oldsters and how you mesh those two entities to try to win a title. Let's go to Yule. Yule's in Houston. Hey, Yule, what's going on? You were at the game last night?
Yeah, what's up, Steiny? What's up, JD? Yeah,
hey, man.
I was at the game with my family.
Nice.
It was like a very good game to watch. I live here in Houston, so I usually watch the Warriors when they come down. And, the first quarter, it was almost like old times. I thought it was going to be a scrimmage game blowout, but the lead evaporated. And I thought I was going to see more from Kuminga and Moody, but I think they should have went down to the G League with Wiseman as well. I want them to contribute at the end of the year, and they need run too. Like, I know they're going to get run tonight, but I don't think it's enough, like, for them to get their confidence up. But it was just legendary to see Klay go nuclear. Like, this is the first time I ever saw it, like, live in person. I always watched it on TV. And then, like, for Steph, I got the video on my phone, like, when he made that dagger 3 for the night. That was, like, just amazing just for my little 1-year-old daughter and my older daughter to witness, like, a GOAT in person, like, just really to watch that. So,
no doubt.
I'm just thankful for the Warriors.
Thanks, Yule. Appreciate the call. Glad you had a good time. That shot. I mean, I can't believe, what is he in his 13th year? Something like that?
Yeah.
Curry. I'm telling you, JD.
Oh, the fadeaway.
No,
yeah, the fadeaway night.
I mean, he don't even hit the rim. I'm telling, like, And
well, it's gotten to the point where that shot goes up. I think it's going in.
I do think it's going in, but
in the context of, all right, this is the true dagger shot, because he's hit so many dagger shots like that over these last 8 years or so.
I mean, for me, JD, it's, he's played 1,000 regular season games or so, 800. And he plays that game last night and makes some of the shots he makes. And 13 years in, I'm like, you got to be kidding me with these shots. Like, these shots are crazy that he's making. They're from so far out.
No doubt.
Like, they shot 54% or 51% from three last night. Three guys made more threes in a game than any three guys have ever made in a game before. Klay had 10. Curry had,
Curry had 7, I believe.
7, and Wiggins had 6 for 23. Three guys combined for 23 three-pointers.
Yeah.
That's the most ever that three guys have combined for.
And it was 23 of 38.
I mean, just absolutely, positively incredible. Incredible. And Klay was at the heart of it. Now the question is, and see, but this is kind of what I mean. My question, okay, can they keep it going? Well,
60% from three
incredible.
For those three.
And it still was a little closer than you'd like, JD.
Yeah, I don't see for last night.
But okay,
I don't
fair
care
enough,
about that.
Fair enough.
You know
they got
why?
their first win
because they hadn't won that game at
That's
any
true.
point. So it doesn't matter. Like, they
It's
were
true.
0 for, whether it was Orlando or Miami or Detroit or Sacramento, wherever they were playing when they were in a game like that where they had a chance to win it. Charlotte, they didn't win it. So to me, you can't. The first time you get one like that, when you hadn't won any game like that before, it has to be counted as a net positive.
You're right. You're right.
Like, we can't be rating wins right now when you're 8-9.
No, you're right. You're right. I'm worried about this stretch coming up. If I were a Warrior fan, they're at New Orleans, then they come home Wednesday against the Clippers.
They're beatable.
Then the Jazz.
They're beatable.
Then they go on the road, play Minnesota and Dallas. I mean, that's one, JD, where can they get can they win 3 out of 5 of those? To me, that would be pretty darn good with 3 of those being road games.
You're counting tonight as part of that?
Unfortunately, I am.
So you're counting. So what you're saying is, can they go 3-1?
Yeah,
in the 4,
essentially,
kinda now, because I mean, and we'll see. You never know. I mean, I do think, and we don't know if Wiggins and Looney are going to play or not. They're questionable. Steph, Klay, Draymond are out. That's been announced within the last hour. Wiggins and Looney are questionable. If Wiggins and Looney play, and the Pelicans overlook them a little bit, the young guys play well. I mean, I think Pelicans overlooked them a little bit in that game a couple of weeks ago, and the Warriors hung around.
Right.
So, I mean, it's probably a Pelicans win tonight, but I'm never going to be one to completely rule a game like that, especially in today's NBA, where teams on a nightly basis play down to the level of the competition.
Right. Let's go to Junior. Junior's in Fremont. Hey, Junior, what's going on, man? Oh, okay.
Dial tone.
888-957-9570 is the number. That's also the number for the Xfinity mobile text line. Golden State Warriors, they win last night, 127-120. Klay Thompson goes for 41 points. 10 for 13 from 3, 14 for 23. It's the game that he wanted in a big way. And according to Klay, hopefully the floodgates open now. Not going to play tonight. Neither's Curry. Neither's Draymond Green. But when they get back to the Bay on Wednesday against the Clippers. Jermichael Green talked about the team meeting. We'll talk more about that on the other side. Talk some Warriors on the other side. And we got Lorenzo Neal. Lorenzo Neal at 1 o'clock. Of course, the 49ers are in Mexico City. I'm telling you right now, they better win that game, JD. If they don't win that game, I'm coming hard tomorrow. I'm coming hard tomorrow on Shanahan.
It'd be fair.
I think so.
At 5-5 with 7 to go?
And a loss to the Cardinals?
It'd be more than... Again, when's the last time the Niners beat the Cardinals? They've lost 3 of the last 4 to the Cardinals.
Well...
And the only one
Cliff
they won
Kingsbury,
was when
baby.
the Cardinals were out of it already.
That's right. And Colt McCoy beat him last year.
So the last 3 meaningful games that the 49ers and Cardinals have played, the Cardinals have won all 3. That's not nothing.
No, it's not.
That's not nothing at all, Steiny.
No, it's not. All right, 888-957. Sorry about that, JD. 999 or 888-957-9570 is the number. JD and I are going to talk about some of the elephants in the room. And maybe some of those elephants got a little smaller last night. Maybe a couple left the room. But Jermichael Green talked about a team meeting where they addressed elephants in the room. What do you think the elephants in the room were? 888-957-9570. I'm back with JD on the other side on 95.7 The Game.
Holy cannoli, this is crazy.
Fresh cut trees are at Osh. Visit Outdoor Supply Hardware and pick up your perfect tree, including Douglas, Norman, and Noble Firs. This year, slay the holidays with help at Osh. Visit 14 stores throughout the greater Bay Area and Central Coast for home, hardware, and happiness.
If you own a business, this has been a bumpy ride. From pandemic to inflation, I'm sure you could use a break. If your business has 5 or more employees and survived COVID, you might be eligible to receive a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. The challenge is getting your hands on it. Hi, I'm Howard Mackler, and that's why I founded GetRefunds.com to cut through the red tape and get you the money. The team of tax attorneys we have put together are highly trained in this little-known payroll tax refund program. We do all the work, charge not a dime up front, and simply share a percentage of the cash that we get for you. Businesses of all types can qualify, including those that took PPP, nonprofits, and even those that had increases in sales. We have helped return over $1 billion to businesses, and we can help you too. Just go to getrefunds.com/sports, click on Qualify Me, and answer a few questions. This payroll tax refund is only available for a limited period of time. Don't lose out on up to $26,000 per employee. Go to getrefunds.com/sports. That's getrefunds.com/sports.
This year's ratings of the best TVs just got published, and Samsung, LG, and Sony scored the highest. Also, they warned about the poor performance of the bargain brands promoted at some stores. So where can you get the best deal on the top-rated TVs? At the club? Online? Nope. At Video Only. They've got their better than Black Friday deals on right now. Don't be sorry. Check out Video Only before you buy.
It's pro time because at Lowe's, it's Provember. Save big with inventory you can count on, like Flex products or DeWalt power tools starting at just $99. Plus, Lowe's MVPs members earn up to 3 times bonus points per dollar on select items. Save all Provember long. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any. MVPs Pro Rewards Program terms and restrictions apply. See Lowe's.com/L/Pro Loyalty terms. Subject to change. Prices valid from 10/17/22 to 2/3/23 or until supplies last.
At CDW, we get balancing disparate clouds can be messy.
Yep, it's like an ice cream cone. The more scoops you get, the greater the risk of failure.
Well, if you want 5 scoops, you should get 5 scoops. And with the Nutanix Enterprise Cloud Solution orchestrated by CDW, you can manage applications and data across all your clouds from a single point of control.
Is it weird that my mouth is watering?
A little. IT orchestration by CDW. People who get it. Find out more at cdw.com/Nutanix.
Hi, I'm Aaron, owner of California Deluxe Windows. Ever notice? When your neighbors get new windows, there is a large black eye of broken stucco, uneven plaster, and even mismatched paint. At California Deluxe Windows, we never leave a ring around the window. Why? Because we are one of the only companies in California who custom crafts every window and door to your home's exact measurements. Almost everyone else on the radio is a distributor. They grab a window from a warehouse, break open your walls, shove it in, and patch things up. At California Deluxe Windows, we take pride in our work. Our installation technique is so precise, we do not break your stucco. Your house could be covered with potato chips, and we wouldn't crack one.
Call now, and for a limited time, you get 30% off your entire order and 24 months of interest-free financing. 800-874-3600. 800-874-3600. That's 800-874-3600. California Deluxe Windows. Windows engineered for life.
Certain terms and conditions apply. CSLB number 774518.
AT&T Fiber presents a straightforward moment inspired by straightforward pricing.
And now we just cube the pancetta as such.
So what's on the menu tonight?
This carbonara I found online. It's fire. You gonna love it, Mom.
I hope you hold on to this AT&T Fiber, son. It's nice.
Yeah, you should settle down now that you're a good gillionaire.
Oh, I am. I finally found the one internet I've been looking for my whole life.
So, no more one-year stands?
No, I'm done with all that. With AT&T Fiber, there's no price increase at 12 months.
What about equipment fees?
Nope.
Those were never any good for you.
Exactly. But now, everything's completely straightforward.
Well, in the spirit of being straightforward, I never liked any of your old ones.
Me neither. Blah.
Y'all never told me that.
But we're being straightforward now, which feels good, yeah?
Yeah. Now let's get straightforward about that girl he's been seeing.
Straightforward is better. No equipment fees, no data caps, no price increase at 12 months. Live like a gagillionaire with AT&T Fiber. Limited availability in select areas. Visit att.com/hypergig for details.
People who come to Cricket stay with Cricket. Why is that? Well, if you ask someone with one of the latest and greatest phones from Cricket, they might tell you it's because of the amazing phones. Like the new iPhone 14 that lets you capture stunning photos in low and bright light. Plus, they'd probably tell you about the fast nationwide 5G included with all plans that lets you stream, text, talk, and more, all at 5G speeds. Yeah, they might mention something like that. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Cricket 5G is not available everywhere. Fees, terms, and other restrictions apply. See cricketwireless.com for details.
Meet Joe A,
Hi.
Joe B,
Hello.
and Joe C.
What's up?
3 everyday Joes perfecting their banking with Chase. Joe A is locking his lost debit card with the Chase mobile app. Joe B is cruising toward his new ride with AutoSave. And Joe C's Chase banker is helping him budget to go back to school. Tools that help protect, support for what's next. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Messaging and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Tune in to 95.7 The Game for Warriors Live, 60 minutes before tip-off of every Warriors game. Brought to you by Xfinity. Supercharge your home with supersonic Wi-Fi. Unbeatable internet, only from Xfinity.
Curry finds Thompson, bounce past Draymond, goes in, throws out Wiggins. Left corner, won't shoot it. Over to Curry, to Thompson. Thompson double clutched it. It's good! Klay Thompson for 3. He's got 38.
Now back to Steiny and Guru. Take it away, Steiny.
All right, no Guru today. John Dickinson in instead. We're talking Warriors. They beat the Rockets last night, 127-120. Coming up in a half hour, we'll be joined by one of the greatest fullbacks of all time, Lorenzo Neal, like he always does on a Monday. And we'll get into the 49ers and Arizona Cardinals. So did I read this correct? So Denver is the mile-high city. That's 5,280 feet, right? We talking over 7,000 for Mexico City?
Yeah, the altitude is higher in Mexico City than it is in Denver.
Yikes. That's going to be a factor.
Which is why the 49ers practiced in Colorado the last 3 days leading up to this game.
Right. They got a little weather.
Yeah.
But at least they were at altitude.
Well, that could help them for Philly in January.
That's true. That's true. We're talking about the elephants in the room. This is Jermichael Green from over the weekend. Take a listen.
We addressed the elephants in the room. You know, we had that hard conversation that a lot of people don't want to have. We had that conversation. It was much needed. And I think it got people more focused and locked in into what we have to do as a team.
You know, one of the things, there's stuff going on with this team, and it's undeniable. It's undeniable. Where, to what level crap is going on, not quite sure. Maybe less crap now than 3 or 4 days ago. But what do you think are some of the elephants in the room? Well, we'll just go one by one here. And if you want to join in at 888-957-9570, what do you think they talked about, if they talked about elephants in the room?
I got a sense that things were coming to a head from being in Phoenix last week. And the way that game went down, and the Suns not having some rotation players, and the Warriors still just being just so bad defensively and unenergetic. And I think Klay Thompson was at the top of my list. The shot selection for Klay Thompson, I know you talked about it. We've addressed that. I think just the commitment to playing hard and playing defense, I think from even the core champion guys, has been an issue. I think they've been in coast mode, especially in a lot of these games against some of the lesser opponents in games that they've lost, where they want to be able to win it with their offense and not expend a ton of energy setting a tone defensively. So I think one of the things that may have not originally come up, but it's, hey, we got to play harder. We got to play whatever. And I could see somebody saying, well, you guys have got to play harder. Like if a starting player is saying that, or if maybe Steve Kerr is addressing, like, you guys have to, like, we can talk about the young guys, and I think the young guys being completely unable to contribute would be a third one at this point. And like, hey, you can't sulk. You got to be ready to play. You got to play with energy. You can't be pouting. So, I mean, those are a couple of them. I think Jordan Poole, would be another one that would be on my list of elephants in the room. Hey, you want to start? great. You ain't starting right now, so suck it up and play well when you're coming off the bench, that kind of thing.
Let's go back to their defense, because I have one of the things I have is bench has been, overall defense has been awful.
Mm-hmm.
That's starters and bench. Did you see the Steve Kerr quote from after last night's game? He was asked about Wiggins, and I just think it's kind of interesting that the first 20 games, whatever it is, what about deep? Well, Steph's been fine. Wiggins has been fine. Draymond's been good. Well, not according to Steve Kerr. This is what he said about Andrew Wiggins last night. I don't think his defense has been as good as it was last year. I think he knows that. I think it goes hand in hand with our team's overall defense. Every single guy has to look in the mirror, coaches too. We have to think about our schemes and possibly make some adjustments because we're giving up too many points. All right? Guess Wiggins hasn't been that good defensively.
Well, yeah, and that stuck out to me last night as well. I also think they need Wiggins. Like, Wiggins can't coast.
Right.
Be at the level that maybe Steph or Klay or Draymond can, because Wiggins is younger. And they're just in a weird spot. Like, they need Wiggins in a lot of ways to kind of carry him on defense or anchor him on defense. Guard the best guard on the other team.
And we don't have to worry
wing,
about him. Right.
And that allows a certain level.
Right.
Because he's only 27.
Yeah.
Right? He's not 33, 34, 35. And so I think if he kind of senses, you know what, I'm part of this champions core now, I can kind of pick my spots a little bit. I think it sets a bad tone. That is an underlying issue for the Warriors collectively. It's that there are different agendas is probably too strong, because I think that's almost a separate conversation. But I do think you've got Klay, who's trying to, he's got boxes he wants to check. And you've got Steph, who has boxes he wants to check. And they're contingent on Wiggins now having to be this other player that he hasn't been to this point. And then the young players have things they want to do that are maybe incapable of doing. But I think Wiggins is key because he's young prime.
Right.
And if he plays harder, it in a way it allows the others to not have to play as hard. And I think that the veteran players want to not have to play as hard, but still pick their spots and able to win games. So that's, I hope I'm articulating that properly. But
and to take it a step further, I think what the Warriors want out of Wiggins is kind of what they were getting from him last year. I would not call Andrew Wiggins a stopper.
Carry us a little bit defensively.
But we're going to put tonight. Let's just say we're going to put you on, Brandon Ingram. All right, and we're not going to worry about Ingram. He's all your responsibility. But by not having the other four guys have to worry about him, it makes their job easier. And he did that a lot in the playoffs last year when he just guarded a guy and just did a nice job on him. Didn't shut him down, but guys didn't have a big game against him either. Filmo Mike. What's going on, Filmo?
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey.
I like when y'all together, man. Y'all get kind of deep with it, sort of like Ratto and Damon. But anyway, I had a question. One of the elephants in the room I had was kind of like the two different timelines, the youngsters versus the OGs. And then I had a question for y'all, since y'all like journalists. Maybe I should ask Ratto. When did team meetings become? So I'm 38. I've been hearing, we have a player-only meeting. When was the first team meeting that really made significance that y'all can remember?
Oh, gosh.
I don't want to get off subject, but I just wanted to ask y'all that question.
Thanks, Filmo.
Well, historically, it's a bad sign if you're having team meetings. Because, and I mentioned this with Whitey on Warriors This Week on Saturday, it's kind of, all right, well, they had their team meeting, and that's great. They played better against the Knicks. But typically, if a team is a bad team, it only lasts for a handful of games. And then the old habits come back, and then it's like, well, what do you do now? Do you have to have another meeting, and you find yourself... So I'm optimistic that the Warriors are not going to have to necessarily be one of those teams, but, I mean, how many team meetings did the Cohan-era Warriors have?
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Well, yeah, my feeling on team meetings is they help in the short term, but I don't know that anything gets solved long term. But who knows? Who knows? I mean, there have been team meetings that we've never found out about. that either worked or didn't work. Here's one of mine. You know, I think we haven't even talked about the Draymond Green, Jordan Poole lingering punch. And when we bring up Jordan Poole as an elephant in the room, we don't know how much that overlaps with his issues. In other words, I don't think Jordan Poole's playing right. He's not playing well. I mean, is it safe to say he doesn't want to come off the bench? See, this is what I was telling Evan on the way in here. I was saying, okay, so I know he signed his contract. I know he knows the team he's on. I know he's cognizant of where this franchise is. So I wonder if he's just like, you know what? I'm not going to start for this team for 2 more years. Like, I'm not going to be a starter in this league for 2 or 3 more years. And I wonder if that's like bothering him.
Or he thought maybe that he'd be in the lineup with Klay.
Yeah, that's probably it.
Hey, in the regular season, why can't we play Looney goes to the bench?
He also might be saying, he also might be looking at what happened the first 17 games and outstretched arms saying, okay, so I can't, if he's going to start playing like this, I'm never going to start. You know what I mean? Like,
meaning Klay.
Correct. If you're going to let Klay play like this as a starter, okay, I'll never get on the court then as a starter because he's been awful.
I think some of it, rather than getting too deep in the weeds at this point on Jordan Poole's mentality, I think some of it is as simple as he just plays better with better players, and he, at this stage of his career, is not able to carry an inferior group of players.
Correct.
Like, to me, that's because you look at, he gets plugged in for Klay the game against San Antonio, and it was humming.
Right.
He's playing with Steph and Draymond and all of that. They were 18-2 and 29-9 with him as the predominant starter last year with Klay Thompson. So I think that unlocked a level of play in him, which, fair or unfair, it's just real, has not been there when he's been asked to be a more true sixth man. Like him as a sixth man, since Klay Thompson came back, really he hasn't thrived in that role or even been good in that role. So I think that's an underlying issue or an elephant in the room that I think has to be addressed. His mentality on it, I don't really know. How much the Draymond, I don't really know. I'm a little reluctant to go too far on that because we don't know.
Well, he has,
but it ain't working.
Well, he has. To me, it feels like Jordan Poole does. And I know it's easy to say he just got paid $140 million. What are his problems? But he is. This is a new role for him.
Sure.
Now he's come off the bench before, but they're asking him to be. They're asking him to do it all year, obviously, and play a certain way. So that's an adjustment. And I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt there because he's a young player and he helped them win it last year. Let's go to Mario. Mario's in Santa Clarita. I believe there's an amusement park in Santa Clarita, if I'm not mistaken. What's up, Mario?
Hello?
Hey, what's up, buddy?
How you guys doing?
Good.
Good.
I just think that Warriors, despite everything, they might be good, you know?
Thanks, Mario.
All right.
They might be good.
They might be.
They're 8-9 right now. Let's clean that up with a Leroy. Leroy in Oakland. You got an elephant in the room.
Save us, Leroy.
I do. Hey, Steiny. Hey, JD.
What's up,
hey,
buddy?
Miss you, Goo. Listen, I think the elephant in the room is kind of the major thing that they talked about in the meeting, and that's how selfish everyone has become since the punch. It's like everyone just kind of took their side and went their own separate way and going, I'm going to shot hunt and I'm just going to be about me. And that's not strength in numbers, and that's not the Warriors' way. And I think they talked about that in the meeting, and hopefully they got that squared away, because in the end, they're going to have to become a team. They're going to have to be together, and it's going to have to be strength in numbers as always. And then let me run something by you guys real quick. I was noticing, like, in our losses, like, we're always letting the other teams 6 or 7 man get off. And I think, honing in on defensively, we got to make sure we don't let the other teams, 6 and 7 guy get off. And they've been getting off a lot. And they even got off the other night, but because of Klay's big game and Curry's big game, we were able to overcome that. But keep an eye on that, guys. God bless.
Yeah,
part of it is the Warriors. That's just Other teams have better players coming off the bench than the Warriors do.
Well, that's true. Other teams have more athleticism. I think the defense is a big problem. I mean, and I'm trying to think if it's solvable. I think it's solvable in stretches, but I think
it's regular season solvable.
What do you mean?
Because it doesn't have to be as good in the regular season to be solved.
Right. But I wonder, like, I truly believe one of the things that was going on is sometimes you just know you're not playing as hard as you really need to. Like, to me, they need to get back to, like, all right, let's try to scratch out a win no matter, like, do it all. Because, those championship teams, JD, they were great defensive teams. I mean, they could clamp down.
Well, yeah, that's the thing.
They
could
can't
flip a
do
switch.
that anymore.
They could flip a switch. They could go through the motions for a half, come out in the third, we're going to hold you to 18, score 35, night-night.
Yep. Klay could lock his guy up. Iguodala was a good defender. Wiggins, obviously. Draymond. So that gives you three really good defenders on the floor, and then you throw Looney in there, another good defender who's a good helper. I don't know that they can become a really good defensive team with their personnel right now. I don't. Let's go to Rich in Fremont. What's up, Rich?
Hey, what's up, fellas? Thanks for taking my call. It's crazy. I called Dan Davone's show and Shamari Block about a week ago, and I stated that what Kerr needs to do is take himself and maybe two other staff and sit down and have a meeting so they can iron out whatever the wrinkles they're experiencing, and they did that. And the reason why that was necessary is because of the last caller, Leroy, what he was talking about. He touched on it, and he's spot on. These guys were playing for themselves. They weren't playing for each other.
Right.
I think that was the biggest elephant in the room. I think Kerr pointed that out. And I also think that is going to help them moving forward because now they realize that, hey, you know what? We're strength in numbers. We don't have no strength when we're playing by ourselves. Thanks, guys.
All right. You know, the idea that Klay was being selfish. Okay. But here's where I'm coming from, JD. If you say Klay was selfish or, was playing selfishly, and I thought he was, well, they got a bunch of selfish guys right now.
Who else?
In a crazy kind of way. I think Jordan Poole right now is that way. I think Kuminga and Wiseman have been selfish, believe it or not.
Really? I can see Kuminga. I don't know about Wiseman.
Well, okay. When I say selfish...
By the way, another night where Kuminga plays and plays terribly and doesn't play.
Selfish is too strong of a word. But what I'm saying is...
Why isn't Kuminga playing?
Wiseman. He's wrapped up in himself. And rightfully so. He's got no idea what's going on in his career. Kuminga, wrapped up in himself. Doesn't mean he's selfish, but his head's spinning around.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like there's so many levels. Those guys are just playing right now when they get out on the court. They've got to start to be competitive when they're out on the court, and then they got to learn how to play with championship players. So I do think there's disappointment there with Kuminga and Wiseman. Guys, you're not going to be stars right now. You're just not. So why don't you latch on to one or two things and focus on it?
Well,
and it just doesn't feel like they're doing that. It feels like Wiseman and Kuminga, they want to score and they want to.
Well, they feel like that's the only way they know how to impact the game in a positive way.
That's the way it is.
And I think the Warriors coaching staff, I'm sure, has told them that that's not the case. But when push comes to shove, it's what it always falls back to, I think, is, well, if I'm not scoring, what else do I do?
We're going to talk Niners in about 10 minutes with Lorenzo Neal. Lorenzo Neal joining us at 1 o'clock. We'll talk 49ers. They play the Arizona Cardinals with a little doubleheader simultaneously, though. 2 screens for you tonight?
3 screens.
Oh.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I don't know that I'm going to need...
What's the third?
I don't know that I'm going to... Well, that's the thing. The third is kind of
a miscellaneous?
Yeah, you track things.
So do you have, 2 TVs mounted?
I have one bigger TV. It's not massive, but it's a 46 incher. I have one 46 incher, and I have 2 32s that flank the 36.
How come you never invite me over, man? To watch a game.
Come over anytime. Usually I'm working. I got the studio, got the home studio going. My place is small.
That's all right.
But it's effective. It's highly effective. But yeah, I got the 46 in the lab. with the 232s.
Well done.
And so, yeah, there'll be a 32 on. I'll go back and forth. One gets the sound.
Sure.
The other two have, I actually have some wireless headphones. So if I want to really lock in, I can just put
This guy, he's got it locked.
Yeah. But I usually one game will get the sound. I don't know, probably the Niner game.
You have the true lab.
Yeah.
Not Guru.
Yeah, and then I've got the table set up which can come out, and then I got, I can hook up all the microphone stuff and all that, the Zoom. I can lean right and I got the computer.
Sure.
Yeah. It's all mobile.
That's nice.
It's all mobile.
Tony's in Oakland. What's going down, Tony?
Hey, what's going on, fellas? How we doing today?
Dynamite.
All right, man. So right before you guys change the topic, I just want to put my little 2 cents in. Steiny, I agree with you, and I also disagree with you. So I think Jordan Poole actually isn't being selfish enough. I think that the second unit needs to realize that everything needs to be run through him in the second unit. As you can see in the San Antonio game, there were times where Kuminga was giving like half-ass screens. I mean, the young guys, they got to do the dirty work, man. They got to stop playing checkers and play chess. You got to get, if you want points, you want to score, you got to do the dirty work. I see Moody. He tries to play defense, but he plays too aggressive. He's trying to be too much like Gary Payton. Like, you got to be manipulative. If you want the guy to go left, you got to force him that way. Don't always reach for everything. I think those are the two biggest elephants in the room besides Klay, is that Jordan Poole needs to run the second unit better, and the young guys just need to play dirty. They need to start playing grown man basketball. They're not being selfish. They're being senseless. They're not thinking before they act. They need to play better than that. All right, thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Hey, that's good stuff, Tony.
You know
I don't have a problem with anything you said.
I will say about Poole, and I'm reluctant to kind of get in his head.
Right.
But I do think there's a little bit of, like, but you mean I got to carry these guys?
Right.
Like, I run with Steph
right.
and Draymond and average 20 a game, and we win.
Yeah.
At a championship level in the regular season last year for half a year,
right?
Until Klay comes back, and it's like you want me to carry these guys?
I do think there's some of that there, but I also
that's beneath me. Even though although you're getting paid $30 million a year coming up for it not to be beneath you. And I could understand that more if you're getting $4 million a year. Although technically, I guess he's only getting $4 million for this year.
Right. I hear you there. I mean, he hasn't been good.
You think that's part of it, though?
Yes, I do. I absolutely think it's part of it.
You want me to carry these dudes that are 2 levels behind me right now? And
that
makes me look worse.
That's why I make a distinction between Kuminga, Wiseman, Moody, and then Poole. Poole's advanced.
Poole's on his own.
Yes.
It's almost as if the Warriors have 2 different teams, Steiny.
Exactly.
They have the veteran team, they have the young team, and then they have Poole and like DiVincenzo and JaMychal Green who play on both teams.
Right.
And Poole's like, I don't want to play on that team. I want to play on this team.
Exactly. I mean, some guys really...
It's like if you're playing pickup and you get with your guys that you like.
See, that's...
And then all of a sudden you got to, like, the numbers don't add up, so you got to go play for the other team. You're like, I don't want to do that.
Dude, there's nothing more frustrating than that. Seriously. When you're out on a court, you look at the other team, it's like, they got some good players, and I don't have that great of players, so now you're already in a position where you feel like you have to do too much. Or you say, you know what? He's got to figure it out. He's got to figure it out. I think he will. But I also think, he is a different kind of guy, but I can't explain. I think he keeps a lot to himself, actually, Jordan Poole. But you're right. Look, one of the elephants I had in my room, my room was basically there's a disconnect between. I think there's a few disconnects, and we're gonna get Lorenzo Neal on the other side to talk some Niners. We'll wrap up the Warriors right now. For now, I think there's a disconnect between the young guys and the old guys on the team. I think there might be a little disconnect between the front office and the coaching staff too.
I could see that,
and just because some people may want to play Kuminga and Wiseman a little more than Steve Kerr does, and Steve Kerr probably saying, I can't play him if we want to win. All right, here's what's coming up. We got Lorenzo Neal on the other side. Why does everybody think the 49ers just going to roll tonight? That's Cliff Kingsbury on the other sideline. Next segment, sponsored by the Department of Healthcare Services.
Life is uncertain. It's okay to feel stressed, anxious, worried, or frustrated. CalHope can help. Access CalHope's free and secure mental health resources. Call 833-317-4673 or live chat at calhope.org.
Attention passengers, this is your pilot speaking. Looks like we're going to have to land immediately. And hurry to the Xfinity Black Friday sale. Folks, we've got clear skies and lots of binge watching ahead. Stream your heart out when you get the ultimate streamer setup. We'll be cruising in so new Xfinity customers can get 400 megabit internet with unlimited data and X-Fi Complete for just $55 a month for 2 years with no annual contract. And a free 4K streaming box included. Plus, for a limited time, get HBO Max included for 1 year. So, sit back and relax with internet made for streaming and access to classic favorites. Flight attendants, prepare for binge watching.
Drop everything and get to the Xfinity Black Friday sale now through December 5th. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. Ad-supported plan of HBO Max. After promo, regular rates apply to all services and devices.
November is a great time to get a new TV. Now that the top-rated brands like Samsung, LG, and Sony are at the lowest prices of the year. With Black Friday deals available, what more could you want? How about better than Black Friday? Before you click, you should call Video Only to see how you can go lower than Black Friday. That's right, the best TVs at better prices. Check out Video Only before you buy, or you'll be sorry.
Everything, our farm, our stand, our pop-up shop, it really all started when we discovered the benefits of local, raw honey for our family.
And then we decided to turn it into a business.
We were looking for something to help us get up and running.
So we got the Chase Business Complete Banking Account.
It's more than a bank account. It comes with Quick Accept, which lets us take card payments anytime, anywhere in the U.S. using the Chase mobile app. Plus, we get same-day deposits at no extra cost. For us, it's more than honey. It's about sharing a little sweetness with the world.
Get the Chase Business Complete Banking Account with the essentials you need to help get your business going. Learn more at chase.com/business-complete-banking. Chase for business. Make more of what's yours. Quick Accept is not available in U.S. territories. Enrollment required. Usage subject to approval. Same-day deposits available for payments before 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Sunday to Friday. Fees and rates apply for checking and processing. Limitations and restrictions apply. Participants compensated. Merchant services provided by Payment Tech LLC and WePay Inc. Subsidiaries of J.P. Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
This football season, adopt a new tradition that's sure to turn fans into family. The Jim Beam Highball. That's beam and soda over ice with a lemon slice. Share one at the stadium or make one at home. Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, 40% alcohol by volume. Copyright 2022, James B. Beam Distilling Company, Claremont, Kentucky. Drink smart.
Dell Technologies Black Friday event has arrived with select deals on top tech to power business productivity. The savings start now with up to 50% off select performance business PCs powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Don't forget special pricing on the latest monitors, docks, and accessories, including free shipping on everything. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL for Black Friday deals. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
With Black Friday savings at the Home Depot, you'll find top brand kitchen appliances with innovative features that can do more, so your holidays can be more. Ovens with built-in air fryers for baking the perfect cookies. Dishwashers with smart tech to clean everything from bakeware to festive mugs. And high-capacity refrigerators to keep leftovers fresh. Shop Black Friday savings and get up to 30% off, plus instantly save up to $750 on select GE kitchen packages at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Offer valid November 2nd through November 30th. U.S. only. See store or online for details.
Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Starting trouble. No one likes that. We'll get you set up for some stronger starts. You might just need a fresh charge, and we'll take care of that free of charge. But if it is time for a new battery, we've got replacement batteries that'll fit your needs, starting at just $69.99. You can learn more about our battery selection at AutoZone.com. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination.
Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the NPD Group 2021.
What's worse than calling your groin your junk? Treating it like junk. Respect your pubic region with Gillette Intimate. Gentle and easy pubic hair care from America's #1 trusted men's grooming brand. Gillette, the best a man can get. Buy now at Walmart.
Don't waste your time trying to sell your old car. Donate it to Cars for Kids. It's the easiest and fastest way to donate your car and get a tax deduction. Donate online at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K.
1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your car today.
This is your time to cash in at Cache Creek Casino Resort. To rock and to roll. Over the hills and bluffs. Go all out or go all in. With 4 stars and rising stars, now we do more than ever, so you can do as much or as little as you want. It's your time to cash in at Cache Creek Casino Resort.
Hi, are you ready to start the season with savings at IKEA?
Ooh, I am. I've got my 3 shopping lists right here. One for home, one for gifts, and one for treating myself.
We can help you check off all 3 with lots of offers going all week. IKEA family members can save on all kinds of products, from bakeware to holiday lighting to rugs and more.
List number 1, here we go.
Visit IKEA to save today. Offer valid 11/24 to 11/28/22. U.S. only while supplies last. Selection may vary by store and online. See store and IKEA-USA.com/Black Friday for complete terms. Restrictions apply.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMC FM at HD1 San Francisco. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
I was in the sauna with Lorenzo Neal.
Now, back to Steiny and Guru on 95.7 The Game.
All right. Lowe's a little late plowing the field. He'll be with us momentarily. The 49ers play tonight, JD, against the Arizona Cardinals. No Kyler Murray. Colt McCoy's going to start. And I'll tell you what, the 49ers, I mean, unless I'm missing something, they're about as healthy as they've been this year, right?
Yeah, for the most part, still no Eric Armstead. Kind of looking through the injury report from the last couple of days here and on Saturday and where it left out. Yeah, no Armstead, Ebicom questionable. But other than that, yeah, you're right.
All right, well, let's welcome him in. Lorenzo Neal, one of the greatest fullbacks of all time. He joins us every Monday at 1 o'clock. Hey, Lorenzo, how you doing, man?
Hey, I'm great. How you guys doing? Is this my man JD and Steiny, huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, you ever play at altitude? Obviously, you probably played in Denver. But was there any other place that you played with altitude like that?
Steiny, believe it or not, I was wrestling in Wyoming. I was a senior at Fresno State, just come out of football. And we're wrestling in Wyoming, mountain. And I was beating a guy. And, you know, technical pin, you win by 15. Technical pin, you win by 15, so it's just like a pin. I'm beating a guy 12-2 in the 3rd round. Do you know I won 16-14? I had to be carried off. I was manhandling. Steiny was like, it was like, JD, someone just put a pin in me, and I was absolutely done. So absolutely altitude. I remember playing in Denver. The first half, you're just, man, what's wrong with me? You're like, why am I just breathing? You're like always trying to breathe for air. You can't get enough. So it is definitely a factor.
Yeah, and Mexico City's even higher than Denver, apparently, by a few thousand feet. But pretty...
So not crazy that the Niners, would go and train in Colorado for a couple of days leading up to this one.
No, it's not, Jay. And what it does, though, JD, it gives you a mental edge. Gives you a psychological edge. Because now you can play Phoenix. You're playing Arizona Cardinals, a team that you know very well. It's a team that's not a horrible team, but they're not necessarily a good team. They're a team that's struggling. Yeah, they have Hopkins, and what he is unbelievable. So you're playing a team that's trying to find it, but you're better than this team, and you should be looking for some revenge. But you're going, so it's going to give you a mental edge. I think that mentally you have an edge, even though the weather was cold and they weren't able to practice like they wanted outdoors. You're still in altitude. So I think you got to give the Niners a mental edge, and this the fans and those other things. I think it's going to play a big factor tonight.
Lorenzo Neal joining us on 95.7 The Game. 49ers and the Arizona Cardinals tonight. I can't put it exactly like I want, but I feel like, you know, the Niners their season has been barely okay, but everybody thinks, it feels like, that this team is going to start winning. Do you think this team is going to start winning consistently?
You know, I think they will. I think when you look at their schedule, it's favorable. You have the Saints, who's been struggling. You look at the Saints, they were able to get by Arizona. You think about who you have on the schedule. And I'm going to tell you a game that I don't circle for a win, guys, and you guys are going to look at me crazy, and I just think they match up great, and they're playing good ball. And I think right now, if you said go power rankings, you would just have to say, hey, let's look at Philadelphia and say Philadelphia would be 1. 2, it could either, if you want to slide Minnesota or Dallas, because what Dallas did, just because of the record, Minnesota or Dallas in there, and probably the fourth team you would say is the Niners. And then Tampa's going to get in by attrition because they're in a horrible league. But there's a team that I'm telling you, if they become a wild card, and if you're the Niners, I want no parts of them. They scare me because they're physical, and they got the best front forward to me in football, Steiny. And you know who that is, don't you, JD? The Washington Commanders. I think they're playing good football. They're not making a lot of mistakes. They're physical, and they can get after you.
Yeah, that's a team, and the Niners are going to get a look at them on Christmas Eve at Levi's. So one of those where you never know. Maybe they play each other, then they play each other again in a first round. But, yeah, they are a physical bunch. Why do you think the Cardinals have posed so many problems for the 49ers over the years? Because it seems like every time these two teams play, we look at it on paper and say, well, the Niners are the better team, but the Niners haven't always been able to come out on top. And every one of these games seemingly has been close, except for the one blowout last year when Colt McCoy and the Cardinals handed it to him in Santa Clara.
Absolutely. Great question. And I think one of those reasons because attitude. I think when you look at, we talk about it all the time, you look at the king of the jungle, it's the lion, but the lion's not the fastest, not the strongest, it's probably not the toughest, it's not the biggest, but it's the mentality. I think the Niners, when you play Arizona, it's got to be mentality. One day you're going to play a guy, the quarterback who can, Kyler Murray, what he brings to the table is elusiveness. He can run and get out of the pocket. So he's a nightmare for the Niners. Scrambling quarterbacks we've seen have given the Niners problems. But now you bring in Colt McCoy, comes in, who hasn't been a starter for years, but he was able to throw the ball. They didn't put pressure on him. They didn't hit him, only sacked him a couple times. He had time to throw the ball, and he's a capable quarterback. And if you give him time, he's going to tear you up. So I think styles make fight. This is a team that thinks that they can beat the Niners. It's a team that matches up well against the Niners. The Niners got to go out here and play good football and go out and play their type of football, and that's physical, and that's getting after the quarterback and hitting. Don't give him time, whoever the quarterback is, and tackle. You got to make sure you get guys on the ground, surround him with Kyler Murray, whoever's going to be the quarterback. You got to hit him. You got to sack him. And I think this is going to be a good matchup. But I do think the Niners, they have given the Niners problem, but I don't see tonight being one of those nights.
Hey, hello. Did you happen to be wrestling in Laramie, Wyoming?
Yes.
Is that what it was?
Yes, absolutely.
That's 7,200 feet. That's Mexico City. I didn't realize. I knew they had mountains in Wyoming, but I didn't know they had big boys. Yeah, I just looked up the elevation of Laramie, Wyoming, and it's 7,200 feet.
Steiny,
so that's worse than Denver.
Oh, Steiny, I'm telling you, it was like nothing else ever happened. I was like, what the hell is going on with me? I was killing the dude, and you can go look at, and I was beating, and all of a sudden I turned into noodles. So yes. So that's what I'm saying. This altitude played big difference. Absolutely, guys. And that's why tonight, too, you do have to give the Niners a big edge because of the altitude.
How do the Niners continue to get the running game going? Because I know they found a way to beat the Chargers, and McCaffrey was awesome, obviously, against the Rams going back to before the Niners had the bye. But there's a way Kyle Shanahan wants to play, and it seems like right when the Niners are about to start doing it that way, something happens and they just can't. So how do they become more effective in the run game down the stretch here?
Sure, JD. I think when you look at the Niners, you think about what they have, and you start thinking about the weapons they have. You look at McCaffrey and you think, oh, my God, this run. McCaffrey's not a guy that's just going to beat you up with the physicality. He's got to have lanes. You got to get him moving. He's a great cutback runner. He's a one-cut and get north and south. I think they got a 1-2, great 1-2 punch. So when you look at the Niners and you say, okay, wow, why didn't they dominate the Chargers? Guys, the Chargers aren't a bad team. The Chargers should have won against Kansas City, should have swept Kansas City, in my opinion, estimations of watching the two times these teams met. They beat a Chargers team, guys. Yes, it's got a lot of injuries on defense, but that is a good team because, guys, they have something that the Niners are hoping they have in the young quarterback, and that's a guy who can throw the ball and keep his team in it. And that's what, Justin Herbert, what he's able to do with the ball. So you look at the teams that the Niners have played, yes, we look for them to be able to just dominate. I don't know if that's going to happen, the rest of the season, but I do believe that the Niners are going to make a conscious effort to run the ball, and that number's 40, JD. Every time this team carries the ball 40 times or more, they're usually winning.
All right, Lo, have a good day, and I assume you will be on, tomorrow with Sean Salisbury for the football hour. Is that correct? 6 o'clock?
That's correct, brother.
All right, man.
Cheers, guys.
All right, love you, Lo. That's Lo Neal, one of the greatest fullbacks of all time.
He did run for 151 against the Chargers last week.
The 49ers?
Yeah.
What do you think about the elevation? I played pickup basketball in Denver once, and you can feel it. There's no doubt.
You can feel it.
And this is even higher, so.
Yeah, I think it's a thing.
Everybody's got to deal with it.
I think it's a thing. I think both teams have to deal with it. I think you get to about halftime, and you adjust, and I think both teams adjust. So I kind of feel like it's a little bit of a non-factor. Now, maybe if the game gets down the stretch a little bit and you're really, one side of the ball is having to work harder than the other, I mean, I could see that being an issue. I think on paper, the fact that Kyler Murray's not playing in this game, that should benefit the Niners because he's just been a handful for them, and quarterbacks that can escape have been a handful for them.
Exactly. You know what? There are a couple things I wrote down, and I'm interested to see how it plays out the rest of the year. And, I think people sometimes make a huge deal out of one game, but I am interested in how he's going to use Mitchell and McCaffrey. It feels like he's going to lean on Mitchell more because you can kind of beat Mitchell up a little more than McCaffrey, if you know what I mean. But
he was the guy against the Chargers. They developed carries into that. He was more successful in that game.
And I think that's the way Kyle Shanahan's going to do it. I think we're going to see games where Mitchell does have that many carries. We may see games where he has 6 or 8. But this is what Goo and I talk about this a lot. He wants big points and he wants Garoppolo to cook and all that.
But the highlights.
But the more I think about it, JD, this is a win ugly team.
Mm-hmm.
Plain and simple.
Yeah, the Chargers game is the template.
Exactly.
Yeah, no,
and I know the Chargers had some opportunities,
and they're talented. I agree with Lo. They are kind of a figure out a way to lose team, but
I said this. I mean, Kyle Shanahan would rather go on a 10-play drive for 80 yards than hit a bomb for 80 yards, because that way it takes up more time. Your defense is on the field less, which is going to make that defense more effective. I think that's a big part of what he wants to do. He wants clock. He wants to eat clock.
I also think Kyle Shanahan is comfortable in the Warriors, in the Niners playing kind of bleep show games too. Like, because I remember we were watching the game last week, and I hit you when the Niners are down, and they could have been down more. And I said, man, they're not buttoned up. They're not buttoned up, and I think we always focus on, because they've lost some games because they haven't been buttoned up, penalties and just sloppiness and lack of cohesiveness, in particular on offense, or looking like the plan isn't there some of the time. But I think Kyle Shanahan believes that one of the things that team does well is the ability to win when it is sloppy and when they aren't as buttoned up. And sure, he'd want them to be more buttoned up, but they're able to almost overcome it in ways that other teams aren't able to do it. I think he views that as a sneaky positive trait for this team, even though I think, push comes to shove, you'd rather not have to do it that way. But I think they are not buttoned up. I feel like they're unbuttoned up more than they are buttoned up.
I hear what you're saying. I think,
which is why they're 5-4.
And I don't know why I think this way, but if they're going to play games like this, Garoppolo is a better quarterback than a Trey Lance, who's just starting out. Garoppolo doesn't turn it over a lot. He turns it over. You disagree?
Be careful. Well, he doesn't turn it over a lot, but he's always he always might.
But let me ask: doesn't every quarterback almost might?
I mean, yeah, but he could have a couple of bad ones in any moment.
No doubt.
That wreck the game. Look, I feel like I've been the biggest Garoppolo guy at the station the last, not thinking he's a superstar.
Jimmy.
All right, you'd give me a run for it. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
No, I don't. Look, I just, as far as the 49ers quarterback situation.
What I'm saying is, don't say he doesn't turn it over, because he might throw a pick six on the first play of the game tonight, and people are going to be like,
he might.
What do you mean he doesn't turn it over?
He might. But what I think about Garoppolo is, we've just gone back. He's average. He's right in the middle.
He's been better than average this year.
Well, he has been since he Yes, he's been
since the Denver game.
But here's the thing:
he's been better than average.
But here's the thing: I'll play devil's advocate. His better than average is another guy's average. You know what I mean? And I kind of disagree. I think they can win the Super Bowl if Garoppolo continues to play for the most part like he's played. Actually, I don't think that. I think at some point he's going to have to elevate it just a little bit. Just a little bit, because I think teams are going to score against the 49ers a little bit more than they did in the first half of the season.
I think that's fair.
And they have.
The one thing I try to do, I don't know if you do this, but I try and look at other teams as they go through their seasons, and it's developed enough now to where I think you can start to pick some teams. I watched a lot of the Vikings yesterday,
right?
Along these lines, they got blown out by Dallas. Watching Dallas too, that's a team that Niners could play. Philadelphia, watched that whole Philadelphia-Indianapolis game. Thought it was a really good game both ways. But I start to think of, how would it look against the 49ers? And I really feel like I know a lot of people say, hey, the Eagles are the kind of team that the Niners could go in and beat. I actually look at it the opposite way. I feel like the Eagles are the kind of team that would almost hang around against the Niners, kind of like they did against Indy.
Right.
And Jalen Hurts makes a play late, or there's a sack they don't get, or maybe they're not a little buttoned up. And the Eagles are the kind of team that would beat the Niners, I feel like, in a way that we've seen the 49ers lose playoff games. Oh, they're up 17-7 in the fourth quarter, and then all of a sudden they can't score, and Hurts makes a play, and then it's tied, and then the place is going crazy, and they can't. So just that kind of thing. I think Minnesota could be that could be a sweet spot for the Niners. I think that's a team where they could go in and get them.
They might be able to. Here's the thing. I mean,
not to get off on a tangent on all of that.
No, but they're going to play those teams if they make the playoffs.
Sure, and not in the regular season this year.
Right,
either those two.
The one thing is, this is why you got to win the division, though. Right?
I think they're going to.
Do you?
I do.
Well,
it's not a foregone conclusion.
You were saying Seattle's a good football team last week.
I think they are a good football team.
Okay, so you think
Seattle could...
I think the 49ers are going to win 11 games?
I don't know that they're going to have to win 11.
All right.
I think if they go in and win in Seattle on December the 15th on Thursday Night Football, they could win it with 10, because their 10 would beat Seattle's 10. If Seattle gets to 10, I think Seattle is...
You got Seattle's rest of the schedule up there?
Is a wild card team. Yeah, I can bring it up really quickly. It's tougher than you think. But yeah, I can. Yeah,
and they're coming off a bye.
Give me 2 seconds.
They did not play yesterday. Right now, they're 6-3.
Right. So the Niners win tonight, and they're right there. All right, I have it here.
Okay.
All right, here's Seattle. Seattle comes out of the bye. They play the Raiders up in Seattle. Okay. They haven't played the Rams yet. They play at the Rams. They play Carolina up at Seattle. They play the Niners up in Seattle.
Man.
Then they go to Kansas City.
Okay.
Go to Kansas City. They play the Jets in Seattle.
That'll be a fun game.
And then they play the Rams in Seattle as their last game.
I'll tell you what. If the Rams truly stink...
They could lose to any of these teams.
Exactly. But they could beat any of those teams, too. I mean, how bad
Except
are the
for
Rams?
Maybe the Chiefs.
Right. But they could beat...
Arrowhead.
The one team, I'll tell you who they are going to beat.
Well, they beat Carolina.
No, the one before that.
The Rams? Jets?
No, they're winning their next
Vegas.
game.
They play the Raiders.
Yeah, they're winning their next game.
That's the Raiders.
God, Raiders almost won.
They did win.
Did they win that game?
Raiders won yesterday.
I thought they lost.
In overtime.
They were down late.
No, Hackett.
Oh, we got action.
Hackett didn't...
I turned that game off.
The Broncos were at the point where there was 1:40 to go.
Right.
And it was 3rd and 6, I believe. Raiders didn't have any timeouts, and they passed. And it was incomplete. And so rather than giving the ball back to the Raiders with 55 seconds left, they gave it back to the Raiders with 1:40. And wouldn't you know, that extra 40 seconds came into play. Raiders got all the way down to like the 15, kicked the field goal, won the coin toss, and then Derek Carr hit Devontae Adams on a bomb in OT, and they won.
Dang.
In OT.
I missed all the action because I was there till about 2 minutes.
Yeah. Well, it was...
I just thought...
And look, the Broncos still would have had to have gotten a stop. It was the worst clock management. I mean, Hackett... I would have fired Hackett before he got off the field.
Holy mackerel.
I mean, it was an embarrassment.
All right, so the Raiders still in it.
He's a joke.
Well, he was a joke week 1.
Yeah. It hadn't gotten better. Like he's a quarterback's coach.
707 or 650. When you have two good teams playing, it usually comes down to who is the better quarterback. All right, who has the best quarterback in the NFC? Who has the best quarterback in the NFC?
Among the good teams?
Yeah.
Well, we have to parse it out a little bit.
Well,
because you could say.
But my point is nobody sticks out.
Well, yeah. Is it? I mean, who is it? Is it Hurts or Cousins or Geno Smith? You could make a case statistically has been Brady. I mean, you can't rule Brady out. Dak. It's not Daniel Jones.
I think it's Kirk Cousins.
Okay, and I know you hate this, but. And I even texted you at one point that I thought their game yesterday for them
was so predictable.
It was kind of meaningless because the way the game played out against Buffalo the week before, that they just didn't have anything left. But it's also that's the big boy game where everybody in the country was watching them. And
I see. Come on,
I'm just saying.
I know, but Kirk Cousins, at least as of a week or two ago, had led the Vikings to more comeback wins than any other team this year. They've come behind all year. So I mean, honestly, that bright lights thing, does kind of annoy me.
But there is something to be said for the Buffalo games. 1 Eastern, 10 Pacific, and like it's just a game. It's not a game where everybody's watching. Like, I'm just saying.
No, I hear what you're saying, but I also
think if that game had been Sunday night, Buffalo would have blown them out. Is what people would tell you.
Here's what I'll tell you. That game was so predictable after the Dallas Cowboys came off that loss to the Packers, and the Vikings had an emotional win again. Like, to me, that's where you really can kind of see something that might be coming in the NFL.
Here's
what, see 40, whatever was 40-3.
Here's what I'll give you. Let's run through this from a 49ers point of view right now. Just give me, all right, because I already sort of started this. We'll go down one through toward the bottom.
All right.
Philadelphia right now. If the Niners are playing Philadelphia in a playoff game, I'm worried about that game for the Niners.
Yeah, I am too.
I think that's not a great matchup.
I agree.
For the Niners. Minnesota, I think, is a good matchup for the Niners for a lot of those reasons. They've got really good skill players, but I think the Niners with Cousins, I'd feel much better about going to Minnesota than I would going to Philadelphia.
Yes. Absolutely. One thing is,
I think the Niners would beat Minnesota. I'm just going to say it right now. I think Niners beat Minnesota.
They certainly could. See, that's the funny thing about the Niners, though. If they go in as like a wild card or a 7th seed, everybody's going to say, boy, they can beat any of the top 6 teams. And they're right.
Sure.
But any of the top 6 teams can beat them, too, because there's nobody that's dominant.
Tampa, I'd worry about Tampa.
I would agree.
Because it's Brady. Because you know what Tampa always does, even when they lose? You know what Tampa always does?
Hold on. They take a pound of flesh?
They're always in the game.
Oh.
Like, even when you think Tampa should be down 20, it's a 4-point game, and Brady's got the ball. And let me tell you something. If you're the Niners, last thing you want is to be playing a game against the Bucs where you feel like you should be up more. Have we heard this before?
Yes.
And Brady's got the ball and can go beat you. Like, so I think that's not a game that I would love in terms of the Niners.
Dallas?
I think Dallas is better than they were last year. I think the Niners potentially could be better than they were last year.
By the end of the season, they could be.
So that's it. But Dallas, a lot of penalties, unbuttoned up. Niners took advantage of that last year, although both teams were, if you remember that playoff game, neither team was buttoned up.
No,
it was
they
two teams that it was like the perfect match of unbuttoned up, although the Cowboys were exponentially worse, and the Niners were able to eke out that win. That's kind of a 50-50. Like, I think that'd be a fun matchup. The Cowboys' defense, though, being a level better, I think, than they were last year would be problematic. I love a Niner matchup against the Giants. I think they'd beat Washington, although it would be closer than people think.
Lowe likes the Commanders.
And then, beyond that, it's a bunch of teams that are, they'd love to play Detroit if one of those teams gets in, or even Green Bay at this point.
One thing, that extra wild card, I'm joking, but not really.
The Packers aren't dead.
No.
Cardinals aren't dead. No, they're not. I mean, the Rams really, up until yesterday, I would have said aren't dead.
They're in big trouble.
Well, they're probably dead now. They're 3-7. By the way, for all the talk about that, remember that first game of the season Remember that the 49ers, who'd they play that first game of the season?
Chicago.
Remember, could the Bears be? The Bears are the worst team in the NFC.
They
are
what's funny?
16th. They've been close a lot.
You know what's funny is I thought they were. I was watching them last week, and I thought, Bears might have some action at 4-5.
Yeah,
but they're like 3-8.
They have the second worst record in the NFL.
3-8.
3-8. They have the second worst record in the NFL, tied with Carolina.
And
Houston's the worst.
Seattle has Carolina.
Yeah, Seattle has Carolina.
And the 49ers took care of Carolina already. See, that's the thing about the Raiders, not the Raiders, the Rams is...
Raiders going to play a role. Raiders play both.
Hey, Raiders, I'm not giving up on the Raiders.
Oh, come on.
How about that? Win, baby. Now I forgot what I was going to say, though, of course. You'll get used to that if you're in here for a few more days. But we can take a break. 888-957-9570 is the number. It's a fun day of sports we got. We got the 49ers against the Arizona Cardinals from Mexico City. We got the Golden State Warriors in New Orleans playing the Pelicans. We'll talk about it all on the other side. You want to jump in to the conversation? You know what? I'll let it happen. Golden State, they're in the Big Easy. Zion Williamson's supposed to play tonight. 5 o'clock tip. Warriors Live begins at 4 o'clock. Sponsored by Xfinity.
Bang, bang, Niner game.
Black Friday is coming, and that's the smart time to shop for a top-rated TV from Samsung, LG, or Sony. But why wait? You can get those Black Friday TV deals right now at Video Only, and then enjoy Thanksgiving with your new TV. Still want to wait? Then how about better than Black Friday deals? The top-rated TVs at stupid low prices. Check out Video Only now before the rush, or you'll be sorry.
Dell Technologies' Black Friday event has arrived with select deals on top tech to power business productivity. The savings start now with up to 50% off select performance business PCs powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Don't forget special pricing on the latest monitors, docks, and accessories, including free shipping on everything. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL for Black Friday deals. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
When a cold comes on strong, knock it out with Vicks DayQuil Severe for max strength daytime relief. Just one dose of Vicks DayQuil Severe starts to relieve 9 of your worst cold and flu symptoms to help take you from 9 to none. Power through your day with Vicks DayQuil Severe, the daytime non-drowsy, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, 9 to none medicine. Use as directed.
Universal Studios Hollywood is where the holidays come together. We've tested it. Festive food with refreshing Coca-Cola. Family, friends, and fa-la-la. Dazzling lights cranked up to maximum merriment. The Grinch and his dog Max stealing your tree. All the science adds up. It's the awesomest celebration of the season. Save $20 on a Coca-Cola 2-day general admission ticket. Offer ends 12/14/22. Restrictions apply. Details at universalstudioshollywood.com/Coke offer.
At Fisher Investments, our clients know we have their backs.
How do your clients know that?
Because Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, the highest standard for a financial advisor. It means we're there for our clients and always put their interests first.
So wait, you do it because you have to?
No, we do it because it's the right thing to do. Our clients trust us with their retirement savings, and we know how important that responsibility is. So we take the time to really get to know them.
Get to know them how?
We make sure we understand their unique goals, finances, health, family, and lifestyle so we can tailor their portfolio to their specific needs. Our goal is to help them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Sounds like a big responsibility. You must make big commissions then, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We have one single transparent fee that's structured so we do better when our clients do better. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you are switching to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
AT&T Fiber presents a straightforward moment inspired by straightforward pricing.
And now we just cube the pancetta as such.
So what's on the menu tonight?
This carbonara I found online. It's fire. You gonna love it, Mom.
I hope you hold on to this AT&T Fiber, son. It's nice.
Yeah, you should settle down now that you're a good gillionaire.
Oh, I am. I finally found the one internet I've been looking for my whole life.
So, no more one-year stands?
No, I'm done with all that. With AT&T Fiber, there's no price increase at 12 months.
What about equipment fees?
Nope.
Those were never any good for you.
Exactly. But now everything's completely straightforward.
Well, in the spirit of being straightforward, I never liked any of your old ones.
Me neither. Blah. Y'all never told me that. But we're being straightforward now, which feels good, yeah?
Yeah. Now let's get straightforward about that girl he's been seeing.
Straightforward is better. No equipment fees, no data caps, no price increase at 12 months. Live like a gagillionaire with AT&T Fiber. Limited availability in select areas. Visit att.com/hypergig for details.
For all contest rules, go to 957thegame.com/rules.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Starting trouble. No one likes that. We'll get you set up for some stronger starts. You might just need a fresh charge, and we'll take care of that free of charge. But if it is time for a new battery, we've got replacement batteries that'll fit your needs, starting at just $69.99. You can learn more about our battery selection at AutoZone.com. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the NPD Group 2021.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/joy. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/joy. That's 4hims.com/joy for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/JOY.
Starting stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Young Debo.
Now, back to Steiny and Guru on 95.7 The Game.
All right, the segment brought to you by Fremont Bank, full-service banking, no compromises. JD in for Daryl the Guru Johnson. 49ers play the Arizona Cardinals tonight in Mexico City. Better win. I'll tell you what. If they lose.
Better win,
If they lose tonight, I'm going to have to come in tomorrow and be like, 49ers. Come on. They got to be better than 5-5. So this is a big game.
Well, doesn't it feel like they're 7-2?
It feels like people think they're going to finish 7-2, at least.
Well, tonight's a game I think you have to get because there are some games coming up that on paper, and you never know,
right?
But on paper are more difficult.
No
and that's
doubt.
no disrespect to the Cardinals. We talked in the last segment about how the Cardinals have been tougher on the Niners than a lot of teams have been. But when you just look at the landscape of what's ahead, it's Cardinals Saints in one category, and I think they're in probably a similar category. But then it's Miami and Tampa and at Seattle. And even Washington now, I think, gets thrown into that category before you finish up with the Raiders and the Cardinals again. So it is the get everything. In some ways, this is the game that really shows everybody if the 49ers are on track.
That's what I think.
Coming off the 3-4, beating the Rams and beating the Chargers.
Exactly.
In essence, tonight backs up what you've been able to do in the last two.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And if they don't win this game,
it wipes it away.
Well, it just. I mean, they lose tonight, they're 8th in the conference. So you can if you're 8th in the conference and you think you're going to get on a roll, that's fine. But ain't no guarantees that this team's going to win 3 in a row to put the playoff in their back pocket. Let's go to Paul in San Jose. What's going on, Paul? How are you?
Hey guys. So I've been watching football since 2012, and I can easily say this is the worst I've ever seen the NFC. All right, whoever said the Packers aren't done, come on, you're ludicrous. Packers are cooked, Mr. Ayahuasca man. You can't handle this adversity. The NFC South outside of the Bucks, done. The Rams are cooked.
About the Vikings.
The Niners, the Vikings are good. The Vikings are good. But that O-line, what I saw yesterday, that's concerning because that Cowboys defense was, jeez, good Lord.
Well, let me ask you this.
The Niners got to take care of this game.
Let me ask you this, Paul, and I'll throw it out to other 49er fans at 888-957-9570. Everybody says the 49ers can beat. Who are you most scared of in the NFC? Who are you most scared of if you had to play them on the road?
I'll give you this. If Dak Prescott plays like he did yesterday, if he doesn't make the boneheaded mistakes with that defensive front and the emergence of Tony Pollard, the Cowboys are looking scary. I would say the Eagles, but Jalen Hurts is kind of green. They also got a great defensive front. It's those two teams for sure, but I would give the edge to Dallas.
All right. Thanks, Paul. Appreciate it.
And as long as Philly wins the division and the Niners win the division, which I think the Niners are on track to win the division, you'd be hosting Dallas, which I think would help.
Yes.
Although they won there last year. I think Dallas is better this year than they were last year.
Philly's going to be interesting in the playoffs to see what they can do. I think. Are all 4 teams going to make it in the NFC East?
Possible. Washington's got action.
They sure do.
They've got action.
They absolutely do.
I think Seattle's still got action as far as a wild card team.
Oh, of
I do
course.
think the Niners are going to. Well, I think the Niners are going to win the division. It sounds like you're not as sure. I'm
not as sure.
Yeah.
Especially after I hear. And here's the other.
But every time you're sure about the Niners, they lose.
Exactly.
And you go, why the hell they lose? And everybody blames Jimmy Garoppolo.
650. If they lose tonight, that's a problem, according to the 650. I think that's correct. Let me ask you this, and I was just, and I threw this at Guru a while ago, and I'm going to repeat myself, but I do think it's I don't know, it's just worth talking about. At the beginning of the year, JD, I looked in the Cleveland Cavaliers box score. You may not know where I'm going here.
Okay.
Do you not know where I'm going?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
So the very first game, I look in the Cleveland Cavaliers box score, and I noticed that Donovan Mitchell took 21 shots, and no other Cavalier took more than 9. And I thought,
okay.
I know Donovan Mitchell's a scorer, but that's his first game. First game as a Cavalier, and boom, he's taking all the shots. All right, now we come around to the San Francisco 49ers.
That's why he was brought in.
And they go trade for Christian McCaffrey. The thing about McCaffrey is, if you bring him in, he becomes your number one. He becomes your number one right off the bat.
Not a doubt.
He's going to have more touches probably than any other player on the team. So I'm not saying that there are not enough balls to go around, but I am saying that's an adjustment for every other playmaker on the team, whether it's Mitchell, whether it's Kittle, whether it's Ayuk, whether it's Deebo Samuel, because McCaffrey's going to touch the ball most, unless he's not really that effective, and then they'll probably give it to Mitchell the most. So that, when I look at the 49ers, JD, they want to run the ball as much as humanly possible. So I just do not get caught up in who had this many targets, because it's just not going to work out consistently. Well, it's just not. It can't.
Yeah, I do think people are too focused at times on everybody getting their numbers. It's McCaffrey's got to have 100 yards rushing and 50 passing and a touchdown for each, and Garoppolo's got to do this, and Mitchell's going to get his, and Kittle's got to get his 8 catches, and Debo's got to get 5, and one of them goes for 60, and it just doesn't work that way. The other part, though, I think Christian McCaffrey, without a doubt, is the 49ers' number one offensive player. He is their most legitimate weapon, whether it's in the running game, whether it's in the pass game. He's better than all of them. So whatever you think of Kittle and Debo and everybody else, McCaffrey is unequivocally the number one.
You think you get any pushback on that?
Big boy. Let's ask. 888-957-9570.
See, I wouldn't argue with you, because Debo isn't the workhorse and Mitchell doesn't have the experience.
But McCaffrey is able. McCaffrey is an easier player to get the ball to.
No doubt.
Than these other guys. So when we always would struggle, when the Niners wouldn't play well and Jimmy maybe wouldn't play great, he'd take the brunt of why they didn't win or whatever. and you got to get the what do we always do beyond that? And every team does this, but it's well, you got to get it to this guy, and you got to get to that guy, and how come you didn't throw it to this guy, and how come this guy wasn't involved? Well, where I think McCaffrey in many ways is a season saver for the Niners, as long as he stays healthy,
right,
is the fact that he is easier to get the ball to than these other guys. You can always dump it off to him. He gets open in ways that it seems Jimmy Garoppolo's pretty comfortable hitting him in those situations. And it allows, I think, the attention to be focused more on him, which makes it, I think, in turn, easier to get the ball to other players off of that action, off of that Steph Curry term, gravity. The gravity that pulls everybody toward McCaffrey makes it easier to get the ball to other places. But I think he is the guy right now for the 49ers.
John Dickinson, Matt Steinmetz join you on 95.7 The Game.
What do you got?
I'll tell you what I got. Total yards. The 49ers, I think, were 10th before last week's game. But anyway, there's only two teams that average more than 400 total yards a game, the Bills and the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the third, as of a week ago, with the Miami Dolphins, they were at about 391. 49ers were at 360. But let's just give them 40 yards. Let's make them the third most explosive team. 400 yards per game, total yards. Okay. Well, they have 5 playmakers: Mitchell, Kittle, McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, and Ayuk. So that gets split up 80 each. Mm-hmm. Now, keep in mind, McCaffrey's 80 is running and catching.
Okay.
Well, he's probably going to have more than 80 total yards.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, that's going to take away from one of these other guys.
Yeah.
So one of these other guys, game in and game out, are going to have 2 catches for 17 yards. Somebody's going to have that. Exactly.
Every night, right. But it'll be somebody. Might be Kittle one night, Deebo the next, Ayuk the next. Here's the thing. It doesn't matter as long as you win. As long as you're scoring touchdowns and you're winning. Touchdowns as a team, not necessarily as an individual. But the moment that you don't win, then I think it becomes, why am I not getting my touch? Because we always play that game when you don't win. It's
no doubt.
What could you have done? Why doesn't this guy... The first time the Niners lose another game, it's going to be, why didn't this guy get the ball more? Because you're always, this is the...
I can't stand that.
But this is the flip side of having all these weapons. When you have all these weapons and the game doesn't go your way, there's always going to be one, to your point, that you can point at that you should have got the ball to more.
Exactly.
In that particular instance. So it's kind of a never-ending argument.
Yeah. And let me ask you this. I mean, okay, so now Jimmy Garoppolo's got all these weapons. How do you handle, what's the pecking order?
Well,
who's getting it thrown to most?
The pecking order is McCaffrey.
Right.
And then you draw a line, and then you got some guys in, Kittle, Deebo, probably Kittle and Deebo and Mitchell. And then you draw another line, and it's everybody else. And yeah, Ayuk is at the top of the everybody else, I think, at this point.
You think? But he's
a good player. That's not to diminish him, but I just think as far as getting open and you rank him for me, knowing who your quarterback is.
Well, what's
clearly McCaffrey. Who does Jimmy trust?
Okay, that's kind of what I wanted. Who
Kittle,
does Jimmy trust?
Deebo,
McCaffrey.
Kittle's 2, but I would put Kittle in a different category. Then Deebo.
If it's easy.
Yeah. Sure.
Well, where would you put Mitchell?
Well, but Mitchell's not.
McCaffrey, Mitchell.
Well, no, I put Mitchell in that second group.
Okay, yeah.
But Jimmy's also not really throwing it to Mitchell much.
No, but I will say this: if the game plan's going to form, Mitchell will probably be their second most
just in terms of runs,
most used. Touches, if you will.
Well, you look at the game against the Chargers, and I had it here. I think they were even. I think it was, or maybe Mitchell had 18 carries and 2 catches. I think it was 14 and 4
right,
for McCaffrey. So it was 18. Basically, right. McCaffrey had 18 touches. If you count the passes, Mitchell had 18 carries.
The pecking order, says the 415, is how Shanahan draws it up. Why'd you go, It's It's not that simple?
It's not that simple.
Okay. Well, let me ask you how. Let me.
It can vary from game to game among, let's say, those that aren't Christian McCaffrey, because he's in his own category.
Right. I mean, the 49ers.
I mean, if I'm putting Mitchell and Ayuk, if I'm putting Kittle, Debo, and Mitchell in a second-tier category, then any of those three, to the texter's point, can be
Who's the second?
The next option.
Who's the second option after McCaffrey?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
One of those
that
three.
That is a group, right? The
And
second option.
You don't put Ayuk in that group.
I don't. I actually put Ayuk in the next group, but
Wow.
which is everybody else with Ayuk at the top.
With
Is that unfair?
With
Is that unfair?
Dwelly?
Xfinity Mobile text line, is that unfair?
I think Ayuk will be a little bigger part than that.
Well, sure, but
Put it this way, JD. If yards receiving from this moment on, let's take McCaffrey out because I think he'll probably lead them in receive. Well, who's going to lead the 49ers in receiving from this point on?
Receiving yards?
Just receiving yards.
After McCaffrey.
Well, I was going to say McCaffrey's clearly going to probably be number one, but maybe not.
He doesn't necessarily have to be number one.
Exactly.
He could be short.
Exactly.
I would lean Kittle or Debo.
Well, then, if you say Kittle, that means they're
Debo
changing.
because of the short stuff that turns it like it's
right. Well, that my point is okay. If it's Kittle, well, then something's going to look different, right? Because they haven't really used him a ton as a pass catcher.
That's true.
So
Kittle like a Niner.
Exactly. Good text here from where is it? Stats are for losers. Oh. Does having McCaffrey make Debo expendable? That's from the 650 JD.
Oh, somebody listening to our conversations during the break? Somebody forget to flip a switch?
I think it's very possible.
The answer's yes.
There's just too much overlap between McCaffrey and Debo?
No, it's not even too much. And I think I threw this at Cam Inman maybe one of the days I was in for Guru, and I think he shot it down. Maybe it was a conversation we were having off the air one day, but I said it's what I just said to you during the last break, which is I think the Niners are going to trade Debo in the offseason.
Okay.
And essentially McCaffrey being brought in makes Debo expendable, as the texter pointed out, and I think that could be a way in which the 49ers would try, while Debo Samuel's value is still relatively high, to recoup some of what they gave up to get Christian McCaffrey in here.
So, in this offseason...
Because they really didn't want to pay Debo, I think, what they paid him.
I think you're right, and I think
they did it.
I mean, they didn't say, well, we'll do it and then trade him, but they clearly were like... We'll do it, and if we need to, we probably can.
And you do see teams do this all the time, where a year ahead, and maybe you think they look to move somebody because it's the right time, and they feel like they have an adequate replacement as far as some of the production that they provide. And McCaffrey doesn't do it the same way that Debo does it necessarily, but I think there's enough production there to where you could do it. Now, Cam Inman, in fairness, came back at me and said, no, I think they're all in for one more year.
After this.
Meaning next year, because of the way the salary structure is and when the next wave needs to get paid and when all that gets kicked in. But then he said, after that second year, I would agree with you.
See, I want to know, and I'm interested to see how they're using Debo the second half of the season, because he may be kind of the odd guy out.
Good.
Even this year.
May not be happy about it either.
Exactly. By the way, Michael Irvin, the playmaker, he's joining Damon and Ratto at 3:30. 3:30 today for the playmaker Michael Irvin.
Oh, my God.
Yep. San Francisco 49ers play the Arizona Cardinals. Mexico City, altitude. 49ers look to get 2 games over 500. Right now, if they lose tonight, they're number 8 in the conference. Now, I know.
It feels a little bit like you need him to win tonight to take him seriously.
Well, I'm just...
Like, why are you not taking him seriously right now?
I'll tell you why.
Like, that kind of bothers me a little bit.
I'll tell you why. Because I don't think we're giving enough. I get it. The 49ers made it to the NFC Championship game last year. I get it. They also almost missed the playoffs. Now, I get it in terms of a barroom discussion. I'll never win that they didn't go to the NFC Championship. They obviously went to the NFC Championship. But I don't think they were necessarily an NFC Championship team last year. They got on a run.
Man.
They got on a run. So this year starts, and people, I feel like, are saying, this is an NFC Championship team. And I'm looking at them saying, no, they were 10-7 last year. And now they've got and their biggest issue is at quarterback. So I don't understand why people think they're going to go 13-4.
Well, part of that was, going back to before the year, they thought that they had an upgrade at quarterback.
Right.
Which it turns out they probably didn't.
Correct. But I the way I looked at it, JD, was they have a going into the season, they had a quarterback issue.
For sure.
And so I'm thinking, well, they had a quarterback issue. Like, that hurts you as a team. Okay, so now we go through the season. Oh, we're going to a lot of 49. We're going to be great. We're really good. We're going to be really good. Okay, fine. You lose to Chicago. And everyone's like, oh, how do you lose to Chicago? But I can't stand the way 49ers, some 49er fans will talk about the Commanders or the Vikings. Oh, you can go into Minnesota and win. Well, yeah, you can go into Minnesota and win, but they're 8-2. Like, they're 8-2. You're 5-4. So let's get into the playoffs first, is kind of what I'm saying. That's all. And when I look at the 49ers, I look at them more like a team that was 10-7 last year as opposed to a team that was in the NFC Championship game 8 minutes from the Super Bowl.
Now, the flip side to that, Steiny, would be, let's say the Vikings end up 11-6.
All right.
And the Niners end up 10-7.
Okay.
But the Niners were 3-4. Right? So the Niners end up so the Vikings end up with a better record. It's not as separated as it is now, 3 games
right.
Separation right now. Vikings end up 11-6, Niners end up 10-7. So at that point, the Niners were 7-3, let's say, in their last 10, and the Vikings were 3-4 in their last 7. And what I'm saying is, at that point, it's a lot more even than it appears to be right now.
Gotcha.
And that's almost what it would have to. I mean, maybe the Vikings end up winning 13 or 14 games. I mean, I'm not saying that, but what I'm getting at is the difference between these two teams is not as great
as the records. No, I agree with that.
I think that's where 49er fans, because Niner fans get all ticked off when it's like, well, it should have beat the Bears and should beat the Broncos and should beat the and they didn't.
Right.
But I think your point, I don't want to make your point for you, but I think your point is, well, you didn't beat them, so you got to be held accountable for that.
My point is, I think some people have put the 49ers into the top tier of the NFC when they haven't done anything to be in that top tier other than, well, teams are scared of them and they have potential. You know, they could get on a run. Yeah, they could. They might. But I just don't. I think until I see otherwise, it's a 500 team. It's a 500 team. With a lot of bad losses, quite frankly.
It's true. The Bears loss looks as bad as it did. The Broncos loss looks worse than it did.
Right.
The Falcons.
The Rams' 2 wins don't look as great as they were. You know, what if here's the other thing I'm thinking. If the Rams truly have packed it in, well, that's 2 nice wins for the Seahawks.
Could be.
They play them twice.
It could be now, yes.
So,
yeah, they play the Rams twice. The Niners play the Cardinals twice.
Exactly. So, I mean, if the Rams truly stink and are mailing it in, well, now it gets harder to catch Seattle.
Unless you go up there and beat them. Like, I think you go up there and beat them on December 15th, you're winning the division.
I would think so. Yeah, I would think so, for sure, unless the 49ers have 2 other bad losses that we're not kind of thinking about.
And at this point, how can you consider that off the table because they already have 2 or 3 bad losses in the first half of the year? That's a fair point.
Exactly.
It really is.
650 says the 49ers favored by 10. That's a lot. I know. That is a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah. I like the Niners to win and Arizona to cover at 10.
831 Steiny, we'll remember all these comments. We'll remember. Yeah, they're pretty insightful, huh? 831.
It's a trap.
They're pretty insightful. Yeah, 49ers. 10-7, team squeaking into the playoffs last year.
That reminds me of the people that are saying that you were like anybody that was criticizing Klay Thompson in his play is a fool now because he played well for 2 games.
Right.
Embarrassing.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know if somebody's trolling us. Steiny and JD, any chance you can get Vivek Ranadive on the show? Where did that come from?
Why?
Yeah, exactly. No. Thank you. Exactly. Thank you very much. Speaking of Klay Thompson, we're going to talk about Klay Thompson. He was spectacular last night. And you know what? In a way, JD and I thought he was better on Friday against the Knicks than he was last night against the Rockets. JD will explain that on the other side. Golden State Warriors, Pelicans tonight. Warriors Live starts at 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock. Next segment, sponsored by the Department of Healthcare Services.
Go Doves, baby!
Life is uncertain. It's okay to feel stressed, anxious, worried, or frustrated. CalHope can help. Access CalHope's free and secure mental health resources. Call 833-317-4673 or live chat at calhope.org.
At 7-Eleven, our coffee is fresh or it's free. We don't compromise on our premium beans, and neither should you. Because drinking fresh coffee is non-negotiable. Offer ends 12/31/22. Participating stores. Refund must be at store of purchase. See 7eleven.com for terms.
No one knows where this market will go. Things could change tomorrow, next week, or next month. At Merrill, we've been here before, and history shows this is the time to stay focused on your future. Because through every market, the bull will always have your back. Find an advisor in the Bay Area at ml.com/bullish.
Merrill, a Bank of America company. What would you like the power to do?
Investing involves risk. Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner & Smith Incorporated, registered broker-dealer, registered investment advisor. Member SIPC, a wholly owned subsidiary of Bank of America Corp.
This year's ratings of the best TVs just got published, and Samsung, LG, and Sony scored the highest. Also, they warned about the poor performance of the bargain brands promoted at some stores. So where can you get the best deal on the top-rated TVs? At the club? Online? Nope. At Video Only. They've got their better than Black Friday deals on right now. Don't be sorry. Check out Video Only before you buy.
1-877 Cards for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
With car prices at an all-time high, our donors are now getting highest receipts ever. Donate at carsforkids.org and your car can be picked up tomorrow.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Tune in to 95.7 The Game for Warriors Live, 60 minutes before tip-off of every Warriors game. Brought to you by Xfinity. Supercharge your home with supersonic Wi-Fi. Unbeatable internet, only from Xfinity.
If you own a business, this has been a bumpy ride. From pandemic to inflation, I'm sure you could use a break. If your business has 5 or more employees and survived COVID, you might be eligible to receive a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. The challenge is getting your hands on it. Hi, I'm Howard Mackler, and that's why I founded GetRefunds.com to cut through the red tape and get you that money. The team of tax attorneys we have put together are highly trained in this little-known payroll tax refund program. We do all the work, charge not a dime up front, and simply share a percentage of the cash that we get for you. Businesses of all types qualify, including those who took PPP, nonprofits, and even those that had increases in sales. We have helped return over $1 billion to businesses, and we can help your business too. Just go to getrefunds.com and answer a few questions. This payroll tax refund is only available for a limited period of time. Don't lose out on up to $26,000 per employee. Go to getrefunds.com. That's getrefunds.com.
Ad paid for by the Sentinel Group. Attention Marines, military personnel, families, and contractors who were stationed at Camp Lejeune. Were you present at Camp Lejeune between August 1953 and December of 1987? You may be entitled to significant compensation. For nearly 34 years, those in the Marine Corps' base Camp Lejeune were exposed to contaminated drinking water, resulting in devastating injuries, including several forms of cancer, adverse birth outcomes, Parkinson's disease, and more. North Carolina's procedural laws have prevented victims from getting the justice they deserve, but passage of the Camp Lejeune Justice Act of 2022 would allow you or a loved one to file lawsuits seeking compensation for illnesses and injuries linked to the toxic water. Call today for your free consultation. 800-610-9256. Let our experienced attorneys fight to get you the compensation you deserve, and you pay nothing unless there's a recovery in your favor. Call 800-610-9256. That's 800-610-9256. Again, 800-610-9256.
Discover life-changing sleep. Now, during the Ultimate Sleep Number event, save 50% on the 360 limited edition smart bed. For a limited time, only at Sleep Number stores or sleepnumber.com.
Black Friday is starting early at Fasteners Inc. Tool Outlet, and there is no better place to shop for all your power tools. Grab free batteries with tons of Makita products and many more of the year's hottest deals, November 21st through the 28th. Save $100 on Makita 18-volt rear handle circular saw kit and take home 2 extra batteries on us. Again, our Black Friday sale will be November 21st through the 28th. Check us out at 2897 Monterey Highway or online at fastenersinc.net.
For 25 years, Buy Right Market in San Francisco has partnered with purveyors of deliciousness to bring you local food that adds a dash of unique to every meal and celebration. Hi friends, this is Jamie, Buy Right's head of product. And this season, whether you're planning an elaborate meal, watching the game, heading to a friend's, or cozying up for a night in, Buy Right will help you savor what matters most. Pre-order your holiday meals at buyrightmarket.com or stop by and discover something unique for yourself. Gather, share, and enjoy with Buy Right.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMC FM and HD1 San Francisco. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Curry waiting. Throws right wing. Thompson launches. Buries a triple with 2.6 to go in the quarter. The Warriors lead by 3, 97-94. This is Tim Roy, and you're listening to Steiny and Guru on 95.7 The Game.
Timmy! Yeah, Timmy Roy, baby. You can hear him tonight. 5 o'clock tip. 4 o'clock Warriors Live.
With Damon Arado.
Okay.
And then I've got Warriors wrap-up after the game.
Gotcha.
And then Kyle and Allen, not to be confused with the former quarterback, Kyle Allen, but Kyle and Allen.
Buffalo Bills?
No.
Montana
Carolina,
State?
Carolina and, I don't know, Washington. But yeah, Kyle Madsen and Alan Stiles are going to have the 49er overtime show after. Like, the timing of everything just works tonight. So, yeah, I'm going to come on. We're going to talk about the Warriors.
What is the timing? They both start at 5:15, essentially?
Yeah, I mean, the Warriors and Pelicans are probably 5:10.
Okay.
And the Niners are going to be 5:15 to 5:17,
Gotcha.
somewhere in there. And, yeah, Warrior game should be done by 7:15, 7:30. I'll get on around 7:45, 8. And then I'm going to yap about the Warrior game until the Niner game ends. And maybe we do a little crossover with those guys. And
all right.
I love it. And they'll take it to the rest of the night.
I mean, there's just no doubt tonight's going to be a lot of fun. Warriors, Pelicans, and then the 49ers playing the Arizona Cardinals in Mexico City. Klay Thompson, 41 points last night against the Houston Rockets. Warriors get their first road win of the year. You know, though, JD, and I'll let you kind of explain what you said, because you brought it up about you really liked the way Klay played Friday.
Yeah, and I thought he played the same. I thought he played similarly last night, but you could notice a difference in his play, that he was trying to do something. He was trying to change it up in the game against the Knicks. He was consciously trying to pass the ball more and not take every single open shot. And I think that worked him into a flow, worked him into a rhythm, and it allowed the team to get into a better flow and a better rhythm. He was basically looking to make the extra pass in that game. And he taking an open shot if he got it, but there were times where you could see him thinking, I'm not going to shoot this. I'm going to pass. I'm going to cut. I'm going to move around. And a couple of times the ball found him again, and he knocked down threes. And I thought that is the adjustment in his game that needed to be made, to where it wasn't, I'm going to take every single shot, make or miss. He came out hot last night, And look, if you're hot, keep shooting. I'm totally fine with Klay Thompson taking a heat check when he's made 6 for 6. Like that,
no doubt.
Like, by all means, go for it. And he probably took, I would say, 2 or 3 bad shots last night out of all of the shots that he took in the game as the Warriors wound up getting the win. So he took 23 shots, probably 3 bad ones.
Right.
He was 14 for 23. Fine.
Exactly.
You'll take that any day of the week, and 10 of 13 from 3. The issue is when the shots aren't falling, he was still taking the heat checks. And in some ways, he was taking more of the heat checks when the shots weren't falling because he was trying to get himself back on track. The Friday night game is sustainable long haul. The 40-point games will come if the new normal becomes closer to the Friday night game, and the Friday night game is where the mentality for Klay Thompson was right.
And listen, this is the one thing about Klay that I just think a distinction has to be made. And if you're saying Klay's back, that's fine, but
we don't know. Let's just
of
be
course
honest.
We don't know. But here's the other thing. I got to be honest, Klay stunk this year.
Right.
By Klay Thompson's standards, he stunk. Not only has he stunk, he was bringing the team down.
Correct.
Because he was so high maintenance, because he had to get shots up. Like, to me, there's a part of me that can't believe he was playing like that in the first place. Nevertheless, he did. That's the way that one went. JD, that was that. But he came the last 2 games. The one game he was steady Eddie, 8 for 16. Then last night he was making shots, so he took more. It's like that's the formula for both kind of games. One game where you have it going, one game where you're just another player on the floor. But look, he got 23 that night. So I'm going to assume this is who Klay is, but I do wonder what the heck was he thinking for the first, for some of those games. Do you think there's any chance he's not aware that he's doing it? Because I don't. I think he knows what he's doing.
I think he knew exactly what he was doing.
Right.
And it was almost like he was daring somebody to tell him to stop.
I guess somebody did.
In a way, and it sounds like maybe Draymond Green was that guy at the team meeting that was held at shoot-around the morning of the Knicks game going back to Friday. The big reason for optimism for the Warriors with Klay, it's not the fact that it's not the result. It's not that he went off and had the big games.
Agreed.
It's the fact that he changed the way he was going about doing it. Like, something needed to change.
Right.
Players were visibly frustrated with him against the Suns.
No doubt.
Going back the game before, to the point where it was almost like, hey, somebody's got to say something to him. Who is it going to be? And it turns out maybe it was Draymond.
Right.
And good for him if it was Draymond, because it could not continue the way that it had. Like, I'm not with anybody that says, JD, Steiny, hey, this was going to happen no matter what. Like, Klay was just going to start making shots. No, he changed the way that he played. That's the difference. That's the nuance. And if he keeps doing that, the Warriors can start winning with him playing like he did against the Knicks. It's less about the games like last night, although I do think there will still be a couple between now and the end of the season.
This was JaMychal Green. JaMychal Green after Friday's win against the New York Knicks. Take a listen to JaMychal Green.
We addressed the elephants in the room. We had that hard conversation that a lot of people don't want to have. We had that conversation. It was much needed. And I think it got people more focused and locked into what we had to do as a team.
All right, so that's JaMychal Green, one of the new members of the Golden State Warriors, JD, talking about they addressed elephants in the room, and we were having some fun, and I want the Warrior fans to kind of jump in here at 888-957-9570. What do you guys think the elephants in the room are? I think JD and I think most people agree that Klay was an elephant in the room, at least with the way he was playing the first part of the season. So let's say that elephant got addressed. And Klay's back in line. What's number 2? To me, number 2 is, all right, hey, Jordan Poole, let's start getting it together now as a 6th man. We need, look, you might not like it, but this is where we're at right now. Can you be good consistently coming off the bench? We need you to be good coming off the bench. Can you do it?
Yeah, I had defense listed as my number 2, just commitment to defense, top to bottom. I think that's something you can put on the championship core players because I don't think they brought it defensively so far this season, and it set a bad tone. The young players, and I don't put Poole in the category of the young players for the purposes of this conversation, but the young players being non-factors, I think, is another elephant in the room. And not even with them necessarily the production, but the way that they've carried themselves in not playing well is a little bit of a problem for me. And then, Jordan Poole was a little bit farther down the list, but definitely. And if that's Poole wanting to be a starter or Poole feeling that it's beneath him to try and hold up the other young players that are not in his level, or whether that's Poole in the punch and the issue with Dre, whatever it is, there are about 3 or 4 different ones that could all be related back to Poole. That's got to get addressed and I think figured out.
Yeah, I have overall defense on my list of elephants. I also have Wiseman and Kuminga struggling, and maybe put Moody in there now. That's
well, none of them are playing.
Well, that's the elephant.
Yeah.
I mean, and nobody expected them to play 30 minutes, but I think as Warrior fans, probably are a little disappointed with where those 3 guys are at. That's fine. Here's the one thing about, and we were talking big picture there, JD, a little bit of the small picture. They play the Pelicans tonight, and the Warriors have already announced no big 3. No Klay Thompson, no Steph Curry, no Draymond Green, and Wiggins and Looney are questionable. And I said this during the break. I get it. I get that the Warriors have to play this game. I get it that, Klay's got to have 15 built-in days off on back-to-backs. I get it that Steph Curry, you want to pick and choose some games where you can, squeeze some rest out of him. What bothers me about this one is I feel like they have a chance to get some momentum if they would win tonight against the Pelicans. The Pelicans are off to a pretty good start. They're a good young team, and you've won 5 of 7. And I know that's 5 of 7. I know those aren't.
Well, you were 3 and 7.
Exactly, but I know that's not your typical Warrior hot streak. But I just don't like the idea of maybe giving up some momentum that you kind of you paid a price for with the team meeting and stuff like that. But I think you have a rebuttal here.
I typically hate it when teams do this, and I think the Warriors are in a little bit of a unique position, just based on the fact that they have become so dependent, I think more dependent on the veteran players than I think a lot of people would have even thought possible to begin the year. I mean, I think it's stunning to not only the fans, but the media and even the organization, how little the young players have been able to contribute to this team. And
I think that's fair.
How dependent they are on not only Steph and Klay and Draymond and even Wiggins and Looney, but how dependent they are on all of them, not just playing, but playing a lot and playing well. I mean, look at last night. You've got Steph and Klay and Wiggins doing what they did, and you won by 7, and the game was in doubt with 3 minutes left.
Right.
Still. And so, but the point I'm getting at is because you're going to have to be more dependent on the veterans for a longer stretch of this season, you need to do everything you can to protect them here and there from wear and tear and injury and fatigue becoming a factor, because you're going to have to win more games in March this year than you did last year. Like that, I think we already know that, because they're not going to have the cushion that they had. I mean, they were 18-2 after 20 games last year.
Well, and I think that's what they always had in their back pocket, even as they struggled at times last year in the middle of the season.
They could win their next 12 games, and they'd be 7 games worse than they were.
I did the math wrong. They're not throwing the game away. They can win tonight.
Okay.
Of course, they're not throwing it away. And here's the other thing I was thinking.
They can win if Wiggins and Looney play. I'll give them a shot if Wiggins and Looney play.
You know what's interesting to me is just because it's different.
Small shot.
It's different. Kuminga and Wiseman. But let's mostly go with Kuminga. And I said this before, but I don't think... So Kuminga, he wants to play more, okay? He wants to play more. He's not playing. He gets in last night he played 6 minutes.
It was awful, by the way.
And they were a minus 12, and they take him off. But here's the thing, JD. Tonight they may want him to play 30 minutes.
Yep.
They want him to play 30 minutes probably tonight. And my point is, this kid's 20 years old. Here's where I give him the benefit of the doubt. 21 years old, and he's actually being asked to sit and not play at all, sit and play a little, or start and play 30 minutes.
Okay.
Like,
it's not an ideal situation for him.
Especially not, but it isn't. It isn't ideal. Because there's no established roles for this team right now, and it's because these guys haven't figured it out.
Well, and I'll bet he plays better tonight. He played better in the last Pelicans game when they did this 2.5 weeks ago on the 5th game of that road trip, and he played well. He tends to play well in these games where, for a night, and Warrior fans are not going to like this, but it's true, but tonight the Warriors are the Pistons or the Rockets or the Magic. No expectation to win. Doesn't mean you can't.
Right.
No expectation to win. Young core, go play, make as many mistakes as you want. We can't pull you off the floor because you're all we got tonight. Develop. Play. Like the Warriors going into tonight are the Pistons or the Rockets or the Magic.
Do you think...
get it.
Let me ask you this.
And those guys play better in that environment. Who wouldn't?
Poole probably start tonight.
Yep. As Curry.
So what if he goes out and scores 43?
He might.
Would that make you more curious about what's going on or less?
Look at the Spurs game.
Yeah.
He started for Klay with the other starters. He had 32.
I know.
36. Whatever. I can't remember what it was, but it was his best game of the year by far.
Right.
Poole's averaging 28-7 in the games he started. I think it's 3 games, but he's averaging 28-7. And that's for Klay or for Curry.
I know. 2
for Klay, I think, and 2 for Curry.
George.
And 1 for Curry.
George wants to put a rat on the table. Hey, George.
Hey, let's call a rat, man. It's load management.
Mm-hmm.
To laugh when LeBron did this. You go, Pop, you can't make it through the season. And the sad thing is, I think our guys can make it through the season, but the brain trust is going like, whoa, pull back. We don't want to set up that 73-win season and lose the last game of the finals again. I'm kind of like, let them all go out and play.
Thanks, George. I mean, I don't want to be a jerk, but that's just not going to happen.
I have no issue with a fan feeling that way, though.
Oh, my God, yeah. I mean, especially...
I tend to lean toward... It for some reason...
How about the way it's New Orleans twice?
Yeah.
Like, that's... I mean, that's not cool.
No, but I do think... For some reason, it bothers me less. Like for the game tonight, it bothers me a little bit less than it typically bothers me. Like to me, you shouldn't do that unless you're in a position. Like if you want to, like, the Warriors are 8-9.
Okay.
Right. Well, if the Warriors were, that's what 17 games. So if the Warriors were, I'm trying to think of what's the right? If they were 12 and 5 or. Yeah, they don't even have to be 10. Maybe 11-6. They were 11-6, even 10-7. I'd be like, yeah, all right, fine, go for it. To me, you almost have to reach a certain level of clout to be able to do it. Otherwise, you should be trying to win as many games as you possibly can. I think because the Warriors have played a little better lately, kind of like I laid out, and they know they're going to need these guys more as the season goes on, I'm a little more okay with it. I didn't love it at the end of the trip where they were 0-4. You're 0-4, you lose to Orlando, and then you punt? Like, okay.
Well, and that's
to go to 3-7?
And that's the thing, JD, that I wonder about is, last year they got off to a great start. So they were kind of entrenched in the top 4 all year long. And they ended up 3rd, and they ended up winning it all. I don't think they can win it all 5 or worse. I just don't.
Probably not.
But if that's the way it looks like it's headed, And Warriors are headed toward a 44-38 year, and they're going to be number 7. They got to play a play-in game, but then they're in. You got to give them a chance. Like, you got to give this team a chance to make a run, even if it's from the 6th spot.
The good news for the Warriors right now is just when you look at the conference overall, and it's the fact that, I mean, they're 3.5 games out of the top spot right now. So things have gone completely wrong, really, for the most part. I mean, 8 and 9. I don't think anybody thought 8 and 9. Maybe 10 and 7 at worst.
Right.
Something like that. But they're only 3.5 out of the top spot. They're only 2 out of 6, and basically 2.5 out of 4 because it's jumbled up. And a couple of the teams near the top are Utah and Portland at 12 and 6 and 10 and 6. I mean, the 2 seed is 10 and 6. The 2 seed is 10 and 6 right now. So what that tells me is you aren't going to have to win as many games to be in the top 4 if it's the right combination. And one thing that I started to think over the weekend, and I was talking about this on Warriors This Week with Whitey Gleason, there could be a lot of teams that are low 40s, that are all, low 40s, 40, anywhere between maybe 38 and 45 wins, that maybe that goes all the way down to like 11th.
Maybe.
And so in essence, the 4 seed might be 45 wins and the 11 seed might be 38 wins. Think about that. So seven spots essentially separated by like 7 games. If it's as even as it has appeared to be to this point, where it's just nobody really dominates.
No.
I think there is I think Phoenix, Denver, Memphis,
Dallas,
and the Clippers, and probably the Warriors. Once they get it together, I think those are the top 6.
Okay.
I think those, good luck telling. Like, I think those are the top 6. I didn't mention Utah or Portland yet, right? But they're playing better than a lot of those other teams. So that's 8 teams right now that you.
Where do you got my T-Wolves?
That's 8 teams you could kind of see in the low 40s minimum.
Possible,
right?
For sure.
And then you've got the T-Wolves and the Pelicans.
And the Kings.
Who expect,
not everybody can win games.
Who expect to be in it. But if it's even enough.
No doubt.
When all these teams play and they just keep splitting with each other, that's how it gets. Like, is somebody going to make more hay than somebody else?
Right.
And nobody really is. I mean, 6 losses right now. The Warriors have 9 losses. 6 losses is the best in the West right now. And there's.
Yeah, we'll see how it shakes out.
5 teams that. So it just. You're not. The point is, I guess that's why the Warriors are feeling good, is that, at least I would be if I'm the Warriors, you're feeling good at the fact that you don't have to be as good. And
maybe
it's already right there. You don't necessarily have to be as good.
It started that way. It started that way, but maybe not.
But
somebody can always get hot, a couple teams.
But how many are going to maybe 1 or 2 separate, but are 4 going to separate?
Probably not this year.
Probably not.
Kevin in San Francisco. What's up, Kevin? How you doing, man?
Hey, guys. How you doing, Steiny?
Doing well, man.
Hey, good. Yeah, no, I just want to say I'm actually excited about tonight. The bench and young players, they need to get some confidence and play with some freedom, right? They need a way to figure out a way to just kind of get it going for this team to be going anywhere. But, Steiny, I just want to say, quoting you from like 10 minutes ago, you said Klay stunk by Klay Thompson standards. I was just wondering, do you remember when I called in last Tuesday and gave you stats on Klay's slow start to the season?
Is this Glass Finder? No.
It is.
What's your last name?
Kevin from San Francisco. Kevin Gracedonio.
Gracedonio.
Let me refresh it. Let me just update my.
Oh man, come on! I know he's shooting. Hey! I'll tell you what, Kevin. I know he's shooting 37-7 from 3 right now, right?
Yep.
See, I know you've got stats in real time. I appreciate that.
Stats in real time. All I gotta say, all right, I just wanted to come back and basically let you know. Obviously, we talked about 2015, 16, 18. But then what did I say when I called it on Tuesday? You asked me how much time did he need?
Yes.
15 games. Give him at least 15 games. What was yesterday? What game was that for him?
Was it 15?
It was
all right.
for him.
All right, Kevin.
I'm sorry, what?
Okay, Kevin, you're up right now. How about that? He's up.
Well,
he just no, fair. Kevin, what Kevin said is, look, why are we going crazy? Klay's gotten off to bad starts before,
right?
And he has.
This is different.
This is a little longer. Evan had did you realize that Klay Thompson has never shot under 40% from 3-point range for any month after September? Think about that.
What does that mean after September?
Oh, I think it was October. Like, out of every October for his career, he's shot under 40. That's the only month.
Once November starts.
Gotcha.
He
Okay.
always
Sorry, September threw me off.
Yeah,
There's no
I
games
messed
in
that
September.
up. I know.
I was like,
my
what?
bad. I got my bad. My mistake. I got my months wrong. But once November starts, he shoots over 40% from three every single month.
Yeah, well,
pretty incredible. That's unbelievable.
And you know what?
If I think about it,
if he does that for the next, what would that be, 6 months? Then
they got action.
Then okay, he'll be in great shape.
Yes. Hell of a game by Klay Thompson.
All I'm saying is you can't just say that this was gonna happen. Like there's a little of the snotty tone to like, well, this was just gonna happen.
Well, I think it was. It's semantics, but I thought it was going to happen too because he couldn't continue playing like the way he was playing. What was he doing? Like, that's my question.
He changed the way he was playing.
I know, but why was he playing that way in the first place? He knew it. He knew what he was doing. Come on. That's the weird part. But you know what? It's Klay Thompson. He's a little bit funky. We love him. As long as he makes shots, we'll be all right. All right, when we come up on the other side, I got an unbelievable 49er stat to give you that Dan Dibley has just sent me. It's pretty amazing. It's all sponsored by Pfizer.
Cash me out one time!
When temperatures drop, COVID-19 cases may rise. So if you test positive and are at high risk, act fast. Even if your symptoms feel mild, ask your provider if an authorized oral treatment could be right for you. Visit treatcovid19.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
November is a great time to get a new TV. Now that the top-rated brands like Samsung, LG, and Sony are at the lowest prices of the year. With Black Friday deals available, what more could you want? How about better than Black Friday? Before you click, you should call Video Only to see how you can go lower than Black Friday. That's right, the best TVs at better prices. Check out Video Only before you buy, or you'll be sorry.
Hi, are you ready to start the season with savings at IKEA?
Ooh, I am. I've got my 3 shopping lists right here. One for home, one for gifts, and one for treating myself.
We can help you check off all 3 with lots of offers going all week. IKEA family members can save on all kinds of products from bakeware to holiday lighting to rugs and more.
List number 1, here we go.
Visit IKEA to save today. Offer valid 11/24 to 11/28/22. U.S. only while supplies last. Selection may vary by store and online. See store and IKEA-USA.com/Black Friday for complete terms. Restrictions apply.
AT&T Fiber presents a straightforward moment inspired by straightforward pricing.
And now we just cube the pancetta as such.
So what's on the menu tonight?
This carbonara I found online. It's fire. You gonna love it, Mom.
I hope you hold on to this AT&T Fiber, son. It's nice.
Yeah, you should settle down now that you're a gagillionaire.
Oh, I am. I finally found the one internet I've been looking for my whole life.
So, no more one-year stands?
No, I'm done with all that. With AT&T Fiber, there's no price increase at 12 months.
What about equipment fees?
Nope.
Those were never any good for you.
Exactly. But now, everything's completely straightforward.
Well, in the spirit of being straightforward, I never liked any of your old ones.
Me neither. Blah.
Y'all never told me that.
But we're being straightforward now, which feels good, yeah?
Yeah. Now let's get straightforward about that girl he's been seeing.
Straightforward is better. No equipment fees, no data caps, no price increase at 12 months. Live like a gagillionaire with AT&T Fiber. Limited availability in select areas. Visit att.com/hypergig for details.
'Twas almost the holidays and all over the state, not a creature was stirring, except for, well, Nate. He was panicked in need of a really good gift. Nate's a procrastinator, if you catch my drift. So off he dashed to the closest store, and there found holiday scratchers galore. Now Nate won't get a lump of coal, unless he burns the holiday casserole. Yes, scratchers from the California Lottery are great, especially for Mr. Procrastinate. So when it's time to get your gift shopping out of the way, try scratchers. A little play can make your day. Please play responsibly. Must be 18 years or older to purchase player claim.
Attention passengers, this is your pilot speaking. Looks like we're going to have to land immediately. And hurry to the Xfinity Black Friday sale. Folks, we've got clear skies and lots of binge watching ahead. Stream your heart out when you get the ultimate streamer setup. We'll be cruising in so new Xfinity customers can get 400 megabit internet with unlimited data and X-Fi Complete for just $55 a month for 2 years with no annual contract. And a free 4K streaming box included. Plus, for a limited time, get HBO Max included for 1 year. So, sit back and relax with internet made for streaming and access to classic favorites. Flight attendants, prepare for binge watching.
Drop everything and get to the Xfinity Black Friday sale now through December 5th. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto-pay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. Ad-supported plan of HBO Max. After promo, regular rates apply to all services and devices.
Tune in to 95.7 The Game for Warriors Live. 60 minutes before tip-off of every Warriors game. Brought to you by Xfinity. Supercharge your home with supersonic Wi-Fi. Unbeatable internet only from Xfinity.
This holiday season, switch to Boost Mobile and get a single line unlimited plan for $25 a month and
a partridge in a pear tree
coverage on America's largest 5G networks.
How about 7 swans of swimming?
No, but if you're not satisfied within the first 30 days, Boost gives you your money back.
Turtle doves, French hens?
The lowest truly unlimited plan on the market, one line for $25 a month when you switch.
I'll take it.
Boost Mobile. Unleash your power. Limited time offer. New customers only. One line for $25 per month with autopay. Device must be returned in like new condition. Monthly service refunded via e-gift card. Additional restrictions apply. See your local Boost Mobile store for details.
At the Home Depot, we have plenty of Christmas trees to make your holidays even more magical. Hundreds of full, easy-to-assemble artificial trees that look so real, you may be convinced they actually are. And for those who love that fresh pine smell, we have a parking lot full of fresh-cut trees to call your own. We'll even help you load your tree in the car so you can bring home the holidays. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
'Tis the season for grilling, and Kingsford Signature Flavors makes holiday grilling more special by making everything taste more delicious.
That's good.
Made with 100% real spices, Kingsford Signature Flavors come in multiple forms and can be used on any charcoal or pellet grill. So try basil, sage, and thyme for your Thanksgiving turkey and cumin chili for your Christmas prime rib. Kingsford Signature Flavors. Flavor you can see, smell, and taste. Find at HomeDepot.com.
In San Rafael, mostly sunny, highs near 66.
Weather brought to you by one thing. Install a low-flow shower head and keep water off when brushing teeth or shaving to save water every day. Join Odyssey, and together each of us doing one thing makes a greener tomorrow.
The hell with the kids.
This is Kevon Looney. Welcome back to Steiny Guru on 95.7 The Game. Take it away, Steiny.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I like that one.
All right. So who was it? Wiseman?
Kevon.
Oh, it was Kevon.
Yeah, Kevon.
He
seemed genuinely excited.
I like him.
I do too.
By the way, I'm supposed to hold up this shirt, but I don't even see the feed working. I just see Jordan Poole and Brandon Ingram on game day. So I'm going to hold up my shirt. Here's the deal.
Are you supposed to do it to that camera or like that camera?
Oh.
That camera?
Oh, that one.
You're supposed to do it to the regular camera.
Here's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, you don't have to do it on that
There's
one.
269 people watching right now.
Okay.
On the stream.
I just work here.
On the, so they made a shirt for me that says "The hell with the kids."
It's right there, Steiny.
What? That camera right there?
That camera right there.
Okay. Thank you.
The kids.
So now they've made the hell with the kids.
Used to be on TV.
I forgot. Yeah. So they made this T-shirt, this sweatshirt for me that you can get for yourself at
the one pointed at you.
95.7 thegameshop.com. All right. Here it is. I'm going to show you this. You can get one for yourself. Use the discount code hoodie, and that'll get you no percentage off. But here it is.
Hold it up a little higher. Right. Yeah.
Come on, people.
Yeah. How about that? You want to hand it to me and have me put it in front of it? No?
I got it. There you go. There's the there it is. If anybody wants any of this paraphernalia and swag. It's, what is it again? 957thegameshop.com. Sometimes I struggle with, what do they call that? Just like business, like traffic I got to get done. Don't forget to plug this. Don't forget to do that. Let me see, what else do I have?
Show elements, reads.
Yeah, by the way,
logistics.
this segment's sponsored by Pfizer. Of course, when I was younger, I thought it was Pfizer.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm. Let's go to Shaka in Berkeley. Shaka, how you doing, man?
Oh, man, I'm doing all right, man. That loss was terrible for the Vikings yesterday, but I had to call. Klay Guru knew, you show your true character after a loss, man, so I just wanted to call in. Man, Klay was tremendous. He's not there yet, man. He was tremendous last night, man. I just wanted to say that, man.
Thanks, Shaka. Appreciate it. You know what's weird is
Who said he was dead? Like, no, I don't think anybody thought he was dead.
No.
Maybe I'm a little...
He's AWOL.
I gotta chill a little bit on that. I guess I'm getting a little too caught up in the... Like, it ticked me off that he was kind of talking about the trolls last night. Like, he let the troll...
Klay?
Yeah, like, Klay got the... And he got asked about it, and that's fine. But it's like, Klay got allowed the troll... It's like, this was never about the trolls, Klay. This was about you.
That's and I'm with you there. But listen, Klay Thompson...
Like, anybody that thought he stunk was right. He stunk.
Right. You can stink and not stink for the rest of the year.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And that's the thing. And here's nobody was saying he's done. In fact, I'll say, he's going to have games like he had last night. Not as many as he used to have. But you know what? Can he have the Friday game? Can he get the Friday game back? 8 for 16, playing smart, no bad shots. Or at least not a lot of them. Integrated into the offense. Not everybody's trying to break their back to get you the ball because everybody knows you're struggling. No. Played his game the last 2 nights.
The one thing that everybody would agree on is the fact that something had to change.
Yes.
And that goes back to this team meeting where it sounds like Draymond Green went at Klay in a manner where he said, hey, dude, you've been selfish.
Right.
And that the team meeting was essentially about that coming off of the game in Phoenix where players were visibly frustrated. And Steve Kerr said after the game that he had some internal things to address that were more about personalities than basketball.
If you watch the Phoenix game, there was bad body language on the Golden State Warriors.
Big time. It was the kind of game where you think that guys are going to be going at it in the locker room post-game.
Right.
Like somebody's going to say, hey, why don't you take a few fewer shots? And then somebody's going to say, we'll bleep you. Why don't you play a little harder on defense? And then all of a sudden everybody's kind of like, it felt like it had the potential to be ugly in that way. It sounds like it didn't get to that. But
it sounds like they may have made a conscious decision after the Phoenix game. Hey, man, we got some things to talk about. Let's not do it now. Not going to do it now because everybody's raw. The emotions running wild. Everybody's got a day off tomorrow, but we got to get this crap together.
Friday, we're going to talk about
exactly. I think that's a good point. Here's the one thing, and I'll get Mike in San Pablo, and I hope I'm not stealing his thunder, but I kind of don't like that Wiseman is in Santa Cruz when he could play 30 minutes a night tonight in New Orleans.
But what about the last time against the
Pelicans?
I know. He played 13.
I know.
Same game. He played 13.
I know. Hey, Mike, how you doing? Mike's in San Pablo.
Steiny stealing my thunder yet again. It's fine, Steiny. I'll let it slide this time. This Thanksgiving.
Sorry.
Happy Thanksgiving to you both. I did have a chance to go down to Santa Cruz this past weekend with my son to watch the Warriors.
Well, you got new info.
With Wiseman getting set down.
Yeah.
Say that again?
You got new info for us. How do you look?
I'll say this. He's a unicorn. He just hasn't played at all. Someone will definitely overpay for him based on potential. There's a few plays where I saw him out running twos to get down the court. I just don't think he knows what he's doing. I also was wondering a little bit watching if it's a person who just happened to be born very athletic and very tall, and he's had to play basketball. I don't see the fire. That's here nor there, but someone is going to definitely overpay. And Patrick Baldwin Jr., man, that guy is smooth. I loved watching him play. and I think he's definitely has a future as an NBA player. Happy Thanksgiving to you both. Have a good day.
All right, that's Mike in San Pablo. Good stuff.
Like that call.
Yeah, I do too. I do too. Let's keep it going. Let's go to Matt in Oakland. Let's talk Wiseman.
How's it going?
Hey, Matt, how you doing, man?
Fellas?
Doing well.
Look, Wiseman does not fit this team. He doesn't. Even if he becomes great in 3 years, he still doesn't fit this team or this timeline, and he needs to be down there playing his behind off, so hopefully we can get something out of him. I would not want him back up here taking minutes away from Kuminga, who I believe is the guy that they really need to invest in. I was a little disappointed Kerr didn't give him a little more run. I mean, he did goof up, but man, that putback, there's just nobody on the team who can do that, and I think he's really trying. And hey, what Anthony Lamb, great, but like, do not be giving him Kuminga's minutes. He did not play that much better than Kuminga, I thought, and that's the thing I think they got to do. I think they're going to be okay, but I do think they're going to have to move Wiseman and possibly somebody else because they do need some help. And Iguodala, oh my God.
Has he?
Get out
Hey,
there
is he?
or
Thanks,
retire.
Matt. Thanks, Matt. So Iguodala, has he officially jumped the shark in the Bay Area? With Warrior fans?
Probably not with Warrior fans.
I don't know. I think a lot of Warrior fans are kind of done with him. I mean,
I think this year, in a lot of ways, this year is what last year was supposed to be.
Okay. Hey, here's
in his mind.
Here's my one question to you.
By the way, I wanted to get this in real quick, and go ahead. You first. Sorry.
The fact, okay,
I just had a
Wiseman doesn't fit the system. Do you think the Warriors are going to be running this system in 3 years?
No, but
they can only run this system because they have the right players to run this system.
Right, but for him to play now, he has to fit.
Exactly.
And he's so bad now that he can't play now because he wrecks the system that much.
Right. But what I'm saying is, when you say he doesn't fit the system, I'm with you right now. But maybe when he's 24, you're going to play a different system.
Right.
Because he and Kuminga are going to be the two best players on the team.
What does he do for the next 3 years?
Well, he's got to play the way they want him to. I mean, what more do you want me to say? He's got to start playing the way they want him to.
But he's unplayable right now. He's unplayable.
No, I'm not saying he should be playing. I don't know how they get him there.
Yeah, but that's the question.
Well, I'm not saying he should play right now.
It's the same thing with Kuminga and even Moody. I don't doubt that all three of them won't be good players at some point. I think all three of them will be good players. But how is it going to be with the Warriors unless the Warriors turn into Detroit or Houston or Orlando at some point to allow them to play as much as they need to play? Like, that's the one thing that I'm starting to become convinced of, is the fact that they're not going to be able to develop into this high-end core as long as the Warriors are trying to win the way that they're trying to win.
So you're going beyond this year.
How are they going to play enough how are they going to play enough to get there is what I'm saying. Over the next 2 years, 2 to 3 years for both of them.
I don't know.
I mean, they thought Kuminga could play 20 minutes a night right now, and he can't. How many times, and look, I appreciate the call, but how many times does it have to, I feel like that call is indicative of how feels like 80% of Warrior fans feel about Kuminga. Oh, that one play, he made that one dunk, that one putback, one great play, 6 horrible plays. Every time Steve Kerr puts him in the rotation, he takes him out of the rotation. Every single time. And you understand why if you're watching the game. It's not about the one play. It's about the other 5 or 6 plays. He was awful last night, save for that one putback.
That's nice.
Awful.
The highlight.
To the point where you knew, Steiny, I made the point on Twitter in the moment. I said that he's done for the night. He's done for the night. Time to take a seat. And sure enough, he was done for the night. The adjustment, by the way, because I can't remember the caller's name, so I apologize. I do. Matt. Moody played in the second half over Lamb. So it was Moody for Lamb, and he played. It was a combination in the second half. It was JaMychal Green and Draymond Green together instead of Looney and Kuminga. First half, it was Looney and Kuminga combo with Anthony Lamb out there. In the fourth quarter, it was JaMychal and Draymond Green, a combination that lately Steve Kerr said he liked, and then Moody was out there instead of Anthony Lamb. So Moody took Lamb's minutes in the second half. Draymond and JaMychal Green took Kuminga and Looney's minutes in the second half in that stretch where Kuminga played.
What I'm thinking about is if Kuminga and Wiseman don't fit the system, at least the system now with Steph Curry, well, then maybe you do have to move them. But my point is this. When Steph Curry starts to slow down or leaves the game, the Warriors will most likely have to change their style of play. There's a good chance they won't be playing their open offense, their fluidity, if you will. Well, maybe at that time they'll want to be a team that runs 18 pick and rolls with some guard in Wiseman or some guard in Kuminga.
And a different coach.
Exactly. No, I think you're right.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is you move these guys now and then, Curry retires in 3 years. I mean, you gave up players just because they didn't fit the system that was unbelievably unique in its own right.
That's the balance that the Warriors are facing, is when do you decide enough is enough? And I don't think you necessarily have to be there with any of them. I think we're getting there with Wiseman. I don't think they're really close to that with Kuminga or Moody, because wings are, I think, more capable of figuring out a way to play. Like, would it be totally crazy if Kuminga was a rotation player by the end of the year? That's not out of the realm of possibility. I think the same is true with Moody. And look, I've crushed Kuminga because he's deserved it. But, I'm not so close-minded to think that he can't carve out a role. He, again, like we've talked about with Klay Thompson, though, has to make an adjustment to how he's playing.
Right.
It's on him.
And
the one flash play and everything else is terrible ain't going to work for Kuminga.
But the issue is, okay, when you say there's a carve out a place in the rotation, let's just say it's 15 minutes.
Right.
The problem is, if he plays 7 bad minutes in the first half, he won't get back in the second half.
Yeah.
If it's a meaningful game.
Well, welcome to being a young player in the NBA.
Well, I'm not saying
on a championship contending team.
And I listen, I'll be honest with you. If I'm a high draft pick, I would not want to be on the Warriors. What's Wiseman's ring worth? Out of here. Kuminga's ring. He played a couple minutes. Great. They would I guarantee you Kuminga would trade that ring for 30 minutes a night. I would.
But you're a selfish guy.
But I'm also 19, 20, and I didn't really contribute in the first place. You know what I mean?
No doubt. I'm with you.
Steiny, can you sign my sweater once I make my purchase? Absolutely.
You charge what for that, though? 5, 10?
That'll bring the value of the sweater down, though. It really will.
What's that promo code again?
Is there one? I made it up.
Yeah, you gave one.
Hey, make sure you get out to Mad Dog and the Fog tomorrow at 7 a.m. Get this, where our guy Dan Dibley's going to be there for the World Cup. Dibbs is hanging out for the first half. He said he may linger into the second.
He's got to get in here.
Mexico and Poland. That's the ball. That's the soccer match tomorrow. Mad Dog in the Fog tomorrow, 7 a.m. You want to tie one on with Dibley right after you wake up. Mad Dog in the Fog. Man. So there's that. 49ers. Arizona in Mexico City tonight. The Warriors and Pelicans. Going to be a good one.
We're talking about a Niner win tomorrow.
I would bet on that, yes. I mean, the only did you figure out what my boy Cliff Kingsbury is against Shanahan? I think he's 4-2.
I think I had him 3-3.
I think he's 4-2. Mm-hmm. Cliff Kingsbury. He's on the verge of an extension, actually.
He already got one, didn't he?
Well, he should get another one.
My fault.
Here you go. This is we had Anthony. We're talking about Klay Thompson, and this is the part.
You know what? I got the official updated
4-2.
You want me to get the updated total on Kingsbury? He was 0-2 the first year.
Those don't. You throw those out.
He's 0-2 the first year.
That's an expansion team.
He was 1-1 the second year, so he was 1-3, and then it's 3-3. He's 3-3.
But he's 3-1 in his last 4.
3-3. So he's got a 2-0 and an 0-2 and a split in the 3 prior years. So he's 3-3.
This is Draymond on Klay getting back to Klay.
He's being Klay Thompson. He is not worried about what happens with Klay. He's worried about what happens with this team. And when Klay worries about what happens with this team, Klay plays great and we win. I've always said he's the most competitive guy that I've ever played with. And the most important thing to him has always been winning. At times, we all get away from who we are. In a brotherhood, you need someone to bring you back to who you are. And I think, I have no doubt in my mind that if it was me, he'd do the same thing.
Translation.
Exactly.
Klay was being selfish, and I told him he was being selfish. He was putting himself ahead of the team.
No doubt.
And Klay acknowledged the fact that he got the message from Draymond and took it to heart and decided to make a change. That's how it's supposed to work.
I know. I just can't believe he was playing like that in the first place.
What do you think of Draymond now?
I'm not
voice
there
back?
yet. I'm not there yet.
Yeah, I'm just throwing it out there.
I'm not there yet. And,
that's a positive step, though, isn't it?
No, it's not. It's not a bad sign. But here's the other thing. I just think that we tend to think of these things as whether it's the punch or it's Klay. Okay, well, now it's over. No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's never over. It's never over.
You're right.
This could be this may have to be revisited at some point. I'm not with Klay with the punch. So it's not over. They may have put it behind him for a little bit, or it's not on the front burner anymore. But I think, basically that's what I'm saying. So they got the Pelicans tonight. Zion's playing, Ingram's playing. Warriors have Curry out, Klay out, and Draymond out, and we'll see about Looney and Wiggins. I think you're right. If Wiggins and Looney play, they can win this game.
Yeah. They'd have to play well. I think the Pelicans would probably have to overlook them. But again, you watch enough NBA, that happens every night. Teams playing down, going through the motions. The Warriors would love for the Pelicans to come out and play kind of like the Warriors have played against some of these other teams where they just want to win 130 to 125. Then you got action, maybe.
Yeah, and then you got numbers. And then we'll come in here and say Kuminga had 24 and 14.
Right. Why can't he play?
A legacy game.
Why can't he play 20 minutes? And the answer is because he can't.
What do we got? How much we got here, Evan?
You got about 60 seconds left here before Damon and Ratto come up with Michael Irvin at 3:30.
Love that.
Oh, yeah, Michael Irvin. It's Monday.
The playmaker.
Michael Irvin. You'll have 2 screens going tonight? I got to figure my stuff out, man. I got to figure it out. The fact that Curry and Klay and Draymond are not playing doesn't necessarily drop my interest level because now we are going to see Kuminga and Moody. But all right. You guys are such a negative Nancy. Can you guys praise Klay's 41 points?
Did it all day.
My God.
You must have missed the last 3 hours.
Thank you. I mean, Klay had a memorable 510. We talked about how we thought Friday's game may have been even more impressive than last night's game because it was the start of him playing the right way. And if he plays the right way, Warriors have action. They have action on 95.7, the game.